When my girlfriend's family went bankrupt, I proposed to break up. Later, she successfully re-established her business and was incredibly successful. However, at a party, she encountered me wearing a driver's uniform. Everyone mocked me, saying, "Sunan, if you hadn't abandoned Shiyu back then, that Rolls-Royce would be yours now." Jiang Shiyu's face was cold, and she sneered dismissively. Him? Worthy of that car? I chose to abandon her when she needed help the most, becoming a laughingstock in the circle. Everyone sighed, saying I was short-sighted. I remained silent, not uttering a word. No one knew that her business success was bought with the rest of my life, and all I received was endless indifference and a critical illness notice. Main text: I was still pleasantly surprised to receive an order from the Emperor's Club. The people there were all rich and powerful, and one order could earn a lot. But when I arrived on my electric scooter, my heart suddenly tightened. The figure leaning languidly against the luxury car was the person I once loved so deeply. The person I had once personally abandoned. I frantically opened my phone, intending to cancel the order. But looking at my pitiful driver rating, I hesitated. Previously, because a customer got drunk and made trouble, I was reported. If I got reported again this time, my salary this month would be deducted. I pulled out a mask from my pocket and put it on, lowered my head, and approached. Almost all of Jiang Shiyu's companions were my old classmates. This made me even more nervous, fearing they would recognize me. "Shiyu, you've become even more beautiful after all these years. Be careful with your words. Shiyu is now the president of the Jiang Group." After graduation, everyone went their separate ways, but they would gather once a year. But since my breakup with Jiang Shiyu, I hadn't attended a single one of those gatherings. I wonder how Su Nen is doing these past few years. It's been a long time since we heard from him. That dead scumbag abandoned Shiyu for 50,000 yuan back then. Does he even have the face to show up? Even if he did come, seeing how successful Shiyu is now, he'd probably be licking her boots, begging to get back together, right? Jiang Shiyu kept her eyes half closed, appearing drunk. She didn't show any emotion towards everyone's chatter. I never thought that my reunion with her would be in such a setting. She didn't seem to have changed much, except that her style of dress had shifted from being pure and innocent to mature and sexy. I pushed my scooter forward and said in a low voice, "Excuse me, who called for the driver?" "Oh, you came quickly." Huang Kai eagerly opened the car door for Jiang Shiyu. "Get in the car, Shiyu." Jiang Shiyu didn't move, instead opening her half-closed eyes and looking me up and down. Feeling her scrutinizing gaze, my heart leaped into my throat. Fortunately, she didn't stare at me for long and got into the car. I breathed a sigh of relief. But soon a problem arose. Jiang Shiyu was driving a sports car, and there was no place to put my electric scooter. "Hurry up. What are you spacing out for?" Huang Kai urged impatiently. "Be careful on the road. You can't afford to pay for even a scratch on this car." He always liked to curry favor with the powerful back in school. He was still the same now. I nodded and bowed, intending to find a place to lock up my electric scooter first. But just then, the woman next to Huang Kai seemed to have had too much to drink. She stumbled and bumped into me. My electric scooter went out of control and crashed into the car door. I'm sorry. I quickly apologized, but when I saw the clear white mark on the car door, I felt like I had been struck by lightning. "What's wrong with you, driver? Are you blind?" Huang Kai hurriedly helped the woman up and yelled at me. Jiang Shiyu frowned and got out of the car. "What's going on?" This idiot driver wasn't looking where he was going. Look what he did to the car. He seemed eager to show off in front of the women and grabbed my arm. "You wait. I'm going to report you." I apologized repeatedly. I'm sorry, but it was just." "What was just?" Huang Kai was aggressive. "You're still trying to argue, aren't you? Fine, you wait. I'm calling the police now. Let the police handle it." Jiang Shiyu didn't say anything, just looked at me with scrutiny. She seemed to have noticed something. I wanted to run, but Huang Kai held my arm tightly, insisting on calling the police. These people were rich and powerful. Without even thinking about it, I knew what my fate would be. Seeing that I still didn't mention compensation, Huang Kai suddenly raised his hand and slapped me across the face. The moment the mask slid off my face, my heart turned ice cold. "Su Nan?" Huang Kai was surprised at first. He scanned me up and down, a mocking smile on his lips. "Why did you end up as a driver?" I felt like I had been stripped naked in public. The gazes around me felt like sharp thorns, making me uneasy all over. The moment she saw me, Jiang Shiyu's face turned cold. She strode up to me and took off my helmet. "So it really is you," she sneered. I didn't dare to meet her gaze, but just kept my head down, apologizing over and over again. "I'm sorry, President Jiang. It was my fault for scratching your car. I'll compensate you." "Compensate?" Huang Kai scoffed. "Su Nan, look at your poor and pathetic state. What do you have to compensate with?" Someone else joked, "Don't say that. Our top student Sue is amazing at making money, and he's not above using any means necessary. A person who would abandon his girlfriend for 50,000 yuan can probably still come up with the money. If he could really come up with the money, he wouldn't be running a driver service. He's just trying to experience life, isn't he?" Listening to everyone's sarcasm, Jiang Shiyu smiled coldly. "That's right, there are plenty of older women who like his type. He could probably make money if he sold himself for a while." I felt a pang in my heart. The Jiang Shiyu of the past was so simple and kind. But now she has become so aggressive, her brows filled with coldness and disdain. I could only lower my head and apologize repeatedly. "I'm sorry, General Manager Jiang. I didn't mean to. If apologies were useful, what would be the point of the police?" Jiang Shiyu sneered. "Of course, not paying compensation is also fine. Judging by your poor and pathetic appearance, you wouldn't be able to afford it anyway." I suppressed the bitterness in my heart, just about to nod my thanks, when I heard her icy tone. "Kneel down and apologize to me. And if I'm in a good mood, maybe I won't make you pay." Huang Kai and the others nearby immediately began to jeer. "That's right, Sunan, if you're a man, kneel down and apologize to Shiyu. Back then, you did such disgusting things, and now all you have to do is kneel. Don't be so ungrateful." Everyone chimed in, and some even came up and pressed down on my neck. "Enough!" Jiang Shiyu coldly stopped the person's action, took a big step towards me, her eyes full of coldness. "You don't have to kneel, but tell me, when you left me back then, was it just because my family went bankrupt?" I looked up at her. After so many years, what the truth was, does it even matter anymore? Is it true that if I kneel, you'll let me leave? It's already late. My mother is at home, without anyone to take care of her. I don't have much time to waste with them. Jiang Shiyu was stunned for a moment, her expression becoming even more unpleasant. "You would rather throw away your dignity than tell me the truth. Is that it?" "There is no so-called truth." I calmly looked at her. "Please answer me, General Manager Jiang. Is it true that as long as I kneel and apologize to you, I can leave?" A classmate who was relatively close to me back then couldn't help but try to dissuade her. "Let it go, Shiyu, there's no need." "What do you mean there's no need?" Jiang Shiyu directly interrupted him. "When my family went bankrupt, I knelt in front of those creditors' doors, pleading again and again, and I got through it, didn't I?" "What? Because he's a man, his knees are precious. If you feel sorry for him, then you kneel in his place." With Jiang Shiyu's influence in Sidia now, no one dared to offend her. The classmate who spoke up for me looked at me apologetically. I gave him a grateful smile, then looked at the woman I once loved to the core. But in her eyes, there was no trace of love anymore, only icy, bone-deep hatred. "Okay, I'll kneel." Humiliating? I was used to it long ago. How much humiliation have I not suffered these past years? I numbly bent my knees. The cheers of the crowd were like sharp blades, tearing my already battered heart to pieces again. Just as my knees hit the ground, Jiang Shi walked up, grabbed my collar fiercely. "You really don't even want your dignity anymore? Is that it? Why can't you just admit it and apologize?" I lowered my eyes, not wanting to meet her gaze. "Isn't that what I'm doing now, apologizing to you?" Jiang Shiyu became even angrier. "You know that's not what I'm talking about." "I don't know." I shook my head, forcefully pulled my collar back, my knees landing heavily on the ground. Just then, a luxury car stopped by the side of the road, and then a figure in a suit and leather shoes stepped out of the car. Seeing this person, my face instantly turned ugly. My half-brother, Su Jincheng. Our eyes met, and a hint of surprise flashed across his face. Then, a strange smile appeared on his face. "Oh, isn't this my good brother? What are you doing here? Why are you wearing a designated driver's uniform?" I didn't speak, just stared at Jiang Shiyu in front of me. "General Manager Jiang, are you satisfied? Can I leave now?" The anger in Jiang Shiyu's eyes was replaced by disappointment. "Get out of here." I looked up at her. "President Jiang, does that mean I don't have to compensate you?" "Get out." I stood up, but Su Jincheng didn't seem inclined to let me go. "Brother, it's rare for you to come back. Why are you in such a hurry to leave? Don't you know today is Shiyu's birthday? Also, where have you been all these years? Do you know Mom and Dad and I were very worried about you." I looked up, calmly watching his insincere act, my heart unmoved. "Worried about me? None of your business." Su Jincheng sighed, seeming disappointed. "Brother, are you still so willful? Back then, you were so adamant about not following Dad. Do you know how heartbroken he was? We haven't seen you for so many years. Are you doing okay now?" I chuckled, but my fist clenched tightly. "Thanks for your concern. We're family. No need to be polite. After all, you are my brother." He patted my shoulder with an air of magnanimity, then turned his gaze to Jiang Shiyu. "Oh right, my engagement banquet with Shiyu is coming up soon. Now that you're back, remember to come and attend." Engagement? Su Jincheng's words rooted me to the spot. How could Jiang Shiyu marry him? I know better than anyone what kind of person Su Jincheng is. Seeing I didn't say anything, the triumphant look in Su Jincheng's eyes deepened. "You'll bless us, right?" He stepped forward and pulled Jiang Shiyu into his arms. Jiang Shiyu frowned, but didn't refuse, instead nestling obediently into his embrace. I looked at the two people in front of me, the knuckles of my fist turning white from the excessive force. One was the person I loved with my life, and the other was the one who wanted my life, yet now they were about to become partners. But at this moment, I had no way to stop it. The surrounding crowd was full of spectators, all seemingly waiting for my response. Jiang Shiyu was also staring at me intently. Her dark eyes seemed to expect something, to be waiting for something. I turned my head, my tone calm. "It has nothing to do with me." I bowed slightly to her, turned and left. "Don't you have any regrets about your decision back then?" Jiang Shiyu's voice was laced with complex emotions, anger, and anticipation. She seemed to want to know something. I stopped in my tracks, remained silent for a long time, then uttered, word by word, "Never. And I never will." Jiang Shiyu angrily picked up her phone and smashed it into my back. But I didn't feel anything at this moment. "So you did leave because you thought I was going to be a burden to you." Jiang Shiyu's tone was full of anger. I took a deep breath and gritted my teeth. "That's right. After all, back then, I wanted a rich person, not a burden like you." Having said that, I rode away without looking back. "Su Nan, I will make you regret this." The bike sped along the road, and I could no longer control my emotions. Tears blurred my vision. I suddenly became extremely disgusted with myself at this moment. Why'd I have to hurt her again? Those cruel words were like a double-edged sword, hurting her while also not doing me any good. Dragging my tired body back home, I found strangely that no lights were on at home. Usually, no matter how late I came home, my mother would leave the lights on and dinner ready for me. I turned on the lights, and my pupils contracted. Mom, how are you?" My mother was lying on the floor, unresponsive, but still breathing. I quickly called emergency services and rushed her to the hospital. After the examination, the doctor looked serious. "Mr. Su, your mother's condition can't be delayed any longer. Her tumor has started to become malignant. It wasn't that serious before, but the situation now is not optimistic. Chemotherapy can control this. You should get her hospitalized as soon as possible." I had always known about my mother's condition, but I didn't tell her. I lied and said it was just another illness. She had also always thought it was just her age and the poor functioning of her body. Hesitating for a moment, I asked, "How much will the treatment cost?" The doctor knew my situation and sighed. "The cost might be a bit high. You need to be prepared." After hearing the doctor's explanation, I immediately felt lost. Back in the ward, my mother had woken up and was clamoring to go home. I patiently coaxed her. "Since we're already here, let's just get a checkup. Didn't the doctor say last time that it's best to have a checkup every 3 months when you're older, so we can be at ease?" My mother was still unwilling, and I coaxed her again, saying the checkup was arranged by the company, and she finally relaxed. But as soon as I left the hospital, I received a call from my boss. "Xiao Su, there's something I need to tell you." Hearing his tone, I had a bad premonition. Sure enough, the next second, he informed me that I had been fired. I don't know what happened. The headquarters suddenly notified us that all stations are not allowed to employ you. "Did you offend someone?" The manager's words made my heart sink to the bottom. Just when I needed money the most, I lost my job. Not surprisingly, the person who got me fired was probably Jiang Shiyu. "What's wrong, Xiaonan?" My mother peered over, and I quickly pretended to be calm. "It's nothing, just work stuff." After taking my mother home, I posted a message in my usual order-taking group looking for work. But what made me even more desperate was that after sending the message, I saw a bright red exclamation mark. I had been removed from the group chat. Could they really go this far? At this point, I really felt like I had reached the end of the road. I got a bed from the first floor of the hospital and slept temporarily in the corridor of the ward. Watching people come and go, I only felt lonely. In the following days, I started looking for work everywhere. My mother's condition was more serious than I had imagined. In just 3 days, she even had difficulty getting out of bed. I deposited all the money I had on me into the hospital's payment card. But it was far from enough. I borrowed money everywhere, but very few people were willing to lend a hand. I needed to find a job that would make money quickly. Luckily, there was a high-end club looking for waiters in a part-time job group. I went to apply at the address posted in the group. The person in charge thought I looked decent and quickly agreed to hire me. He told me the general situation and some rules. Basically, that's it. You have to remember that the customer is God. you have to endure any dissatisfaction. Some customers may have special needs, and you can't complain about it either. I nodded. After all, it was the service industry, I could understand. Okay, you can start work tonight. There's a 7-day probation period, and your salary will be paid during that time. Okay, thank you. After taking care of my mother and having dinner in the hospital, I started to go to work. I've done quite a few serving jobs, so it's not unfamiliar, just mainly selling drinks. Because I'm not bad looking, most customers were quite friendly. Things started smoothly, some customers even gave me tips. That was until the group chat notified someone to deliver drinks to a VIP room, where usually the active people were silent. VIP room customers are generally very generous. I agreed to go without thinking much. But just as I grabbed the drinks and was about to leave, the cashier at the bar whispered a reminder. Once you deliver the drinks, come right back out, don't linger. I heard the lady inside is pretty twisted. My heart skipped a beat, but to make money, I could only grit my teeth and go. I pushed the cart into the room. A group of people were drinking and chatting, seemingly not noticing me. This made me feel relieved. I was about to leave after placing the drinks on the table, but the unexpected happened. Waiter, wait a moment. I was startled, but still turned around obediently. Hello, is there anything else you need? The one who spoke was a woman sitting in the middle, dressed seductively. After clearly seeing my face, her face lit up with surprise. You're new. I haven't seen you before? I nodded. Yes, today is my first day. The woman smiled, even more happily. The manager's taste has improved lately. The new one looks good, and the figure seems good too. It's my birthday today. Join my sisters for a few drinks. I was a bit embarrassed. I'm sorry, madam. I don't do drinking accompaniment. If you need someone to accompany you, I can call someone else. The woman's face immediately fell. Does anyone dare to not give me face? I insist you drink with me today. The others in the room also spoke with displeasure. Miss Chen taking a liking to you is your good fortune. You don't know what's good for you. Exactly. The tip later will be more than your entire month's salary. That Miss Chun became even more smug, taking a stack of cash from her bag and throwing it on the table. 1,000 for each drink. If we're happy, I can add more. I looked at the money on the table. I was tempted, but thinking about my stomach, I still refused. But before I could speak, the room door suddenly opened, and a familiar voice rang out. Isn't the whole point of coming here to make money? Why the fake purity? It was Jiang Xiu. She actually came too. She glanced at me with disdain, then walked straight to Miss Chun, handing her the gift in her hand. Happy birthday, Chen Shi. Sorry I'm late. Oh my CEO, Jiang. You're too kind. It's a pity such a good atmosphere was ruined by this ignorant little gigolo. So, Jiang, what do you say we should do? It's easy. Jiang Xiu turned to look at me, her eyes full of fierceness. Her words made my heart skip a beat. Enjoy yourselves, Miss Chun. I have work to do. With that, I intended to leave, but Jiang Xiu grabbed my arm. If you dare to walk out today, I'll make sure you can't find a job in Haicheng ever again. I knew what she said was true. With her and that Miss Chen's means, it would be very easy for them to have me blacklisted by all industries. If that's really the case, then I'm afraid it will be difficult for me to gain a foothold in Haicheng. Forget about work. Even just surviving will be a problem. I don't understand. This is the person I once loved, and yet she treats me like this now. Is she really going to force me to my absolute end, step by step? I tried my best to control my emotions and said in a deep voice, Okay, I can drink this wine. Chen Shi laughed when she heard this. As expected, General Jiang is amazing. He made him obedient so quickly. But letting you off just like that is a little too easy on you. I originally thought that if I gave in, she would let me go, but it seems that she is more difficult than I imagined. Jiang Xiu heard this and said again, I think so too. After that, she walked to the table next to her, picked up a bottle of wine, opened it and walked in front of me, saying, Aren't you short of money? Ms. Chen just said 1,000 yuan a glass. After she finished speaking, she took out a wad of money from her bag and threw it at my feet. Then she threw several more wads in front of me. This money is enough for you to drink this whole table. I looked at the money thrown at my feet and didn't speak for a long time. To them, this money was just the cost of a table of wine. So they can trample on other people's dignity so easily. I looked up at the person I once loved deeply. She stood in front of me, no longer with the gentleness of the past. Her calm face and cold eyes were telling of the hatred in her heart. After all these years, she still hasn't gotten over that incident. Seeing that I didn't move, Jiang Xiu mocked. What? You don't want to? Or is it that you think there's not enough money? This money is enough for half a year of your salary. Isn't it just giving in a little? I'll give you one last chance. Finish the drink and take the money. If you don't finish it, get out of Haicheng. Jiang Xiu stood in front of me like this, stepping on my dignity fiercely. No matter what choice I made, It was a torment. Now that things have come to this point, it's no longer up to me to choose. Since it's Ms. Chun who's not happy, then I'll drink it. I took the wine from Jiang Shiyu's hand and tilted my head back, finishing the entire bottle, the wine flowing all over me. The pungent alcohol irritated my throat and my sensitive stomach. I endured the discomfort and finished the bottle. After a bottle of wine, I coughed a few times uncomfortably. My throat choked painfully. I said, Ms. Chun, I've finished this bottle of wine. I apologize to you. Chun, she was instantly delighted when she saw that I had finished a bottle. This waiter is interesting, but General Jiang is more courageous. He doesn't even dare to resist. All right, very good, you drank it, and I feel relieved. Seeing her smile, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Since Ms. Chun is relieved, then I won't disturb you any longer. I turned around, stepped over the money on the ground, and walked to the door, ready to go out, but Chun, she said, Hey, did I say you could leave? You're really something. You don't want the money on the ground? I stopped at the door, turned my head and said, It was me who offended Ms. Chun just now, so the wine is my apology, and naturally I can't take this money. Besides, this is Ms. Jiang's money. I can't take it even more because I have no relationship with Ms. Jiang. No reason to take her money. I looked up at Jiang Shiyu. If I wanted to sever ties, sever them cleanly, then break off completely. Chun Shi laughed loudly. Good, you've got guts. I like it. What's your name? Why don't you follow me in the future? Of course I knew that her words were genuine, but I still remembered the warning from my colleague. Thank you for your appreciation, Ms. Chun. I'm fine as I am. Chun Shi, seeing that I was unappreciative and a bit clueless, became completely unhappy. What? Giving face to General Jiang, but not giving me face. Is that it? General Jiang just said that you lost your job one after another. Are you not afraid of losing this job as well? I looked up at her. These rich people always like to display their power like this. It's easy to lift someone up, and it's also effortless to step on someone. Then what do I have to do for Ms. Chun to let me go? Chun Shi, seeing that I finally gave in, immediately said, Either follow me, or you drink this entire table of wine, and I'll give you 100,000. You choose one. Either follow me or choose 100,000. Those around her laughed. Ms. Chun, this is the first time I've seen you do a losing business. No matter what, you're at a loss. Chun Shi laughed. What do you know? It's rare to meet a handsome guy. I'm happy. But if you make me unhappy, don't choose anything. Don't blame me. I don't believe that anyone doesn't love money. Don't you think so? Jiang Shiyu laughed aside and said, I think he wants to choose both. Chun Shi was a bit confused. What do you mean? It seems like CEO Jiang knows him very well. Jiang Shiyu turned her head to look at me, her eyes full of anger. I probably don't know him. I have absolutely nothing to do with him. Chun Shi nodded after hearing this and looked at me. Okay then, you can choose. They all sat together, looking at me, as if they were playing with their own toy. I raised my eyes and glanced at Jiang Shiyu. In her dark eyes, it seemed that I could no longer see any emotion. She was allowing the others to humiliate me. There were also some unbearable words that poured into my ears, along with their laughter. No matter how I chose, it was a dead end. I choose to drink. After all, there's still money to be made, right? Money right in front of you. Why not take it? Upon hearing this, Chun Shi was a bit surprised, then clapped and laughed loudly. Good, good. CEO Jiang was right. No one will turn down money. She pointed to the table full of wine and laughed. Finish it all, and you can take this 100,000. After saying that, she took out a card and threw it on the table. The password is 88s. Whether you can take it or not depends on your ability. I looked at the card, clenched my fist tightly. This 100,000 could indeed ease my urgent needs. I might have cared about my self-esteem in the past, but dignity is nothing in the face of life and death. Jiang Shiyu looked at me coldly, without saying a word. She was waiting to see me submit, to see how uncomfortable I was. But no matter what, I had no choice. I took a deep breath and picked up the wine on the table. Since Miss Chun is so generous, I can't be unappreciative. After saying that, I took a drink of the wine and finished it in one gulp. Although it was uncomfortable, I still gritted my teeth and drank one bottle after another. That group of people surrounded me, watching me drink, starting to jeer, laughing loudly and recklessly. I was like a clown bringing them entertainment. For people like them, money wasn't anything, they just wanted fun. However, it was a whole table of wine. Even if the god of wine came, he wouldn't be able to handle drinking like this. The wine soaked my chest. The alcohol stimulated my nerves. I started to lose my strength. Someone noticed that I was slowing down and became displeased. Some even came over urging, wanting to force-feed me more, but Chun Shi stopped them. I had to continue drinking despite feeling terrible. In the corner of my eye, I saw that Jiang Shiyu was still silent. She was just looking at me like that, with no expression on her face. What was she thinking at this moment? Was it hatred, anger, pleasure after venting, or was it satisfaction? Just as my abdomen was in severe pain and my consciousness was about to become blurred, Jiang Shiyu spoke. Kneel down and apologize, and I can persuade Miss Chun to let you off the hook with the last of the wine. She stood in front of me, her eyes cold. Chun-Shi was a bit surprised. CEO Jiang, has he offended you? I think you seem to have a problem with him. Jiang Shiyu was silent for a moment, her tone low. Yes, I'm not familiar with Miss Jiang. I interrupted her. It's almost finished. Miss Chun, please wait a moment. I didn't want her to humiliate me again and again. If I had hurt her in the past, then I would bear this punishment myself. But from now on, we would truly be strangers. Hearing my words, Jiang Shiyu angrily shouted, Fine, since you're so capable, then finish it. I picked up a bottle of wine, and after only drinking half of it, my stomach began to hurt terribly. My face was starting to turn pale. I think he can't take it anymore. His face has changed. It looks like he can't hold it in anymore. This money isn't so easy to get. Chun-Shi didn't say anything, but instead looked up at me. Or, why don't you admit defeat and kneel down to beg me? I pulled over the chair next to me and sat down with a thud. A man's knees are as valuable as gold. How can I kneel? It's just 2 bottles of wine. I'll drink them. I hope Miss Chun will keep her word. Chun-Shi raised her eyes and looked at me, as if thinking about something. After a long while, she finally spoke. If you can finish it and still walk from here to the door, you can look for me if you have any problems in High City in the future. In the corner of my eye, I glanced at Jiang Shiyu. Hearing these words, she clearly froze for a moment, but didn't say anything. Since Miss Chun is so generous, then I can't let your expectations down. I opened the last 2 bottles of wine, took a deep breath, and tried my best to suppress the discomfort in my chest. The things that seemed about to surge out in the next second. I pinched my thigh hard to try to keep myself awake. I could feel that my neck veins were popping because of the suppression, and the people next to me exclaimed in surprise. Wow, he can really endure. The veins in his neck are bulging. I endured the discomfort and drank the last 2 bottles. My whole body instantly became blurry, and my head was pounding painfully. Seeing that I had finished drinking, my face flushed red, and the whole room fell silent. I clenched my fists tightly, digging them into my flesh, trying to appear calm, and stood up, swaying. I looked at Chun-Shi and said, Miss Chun, happy birthday to you. Forgive me for not being able to stay. Chun-Shi's expression darkened, not with displeasure, but with seriousness, and she said, Okay, I admire you as a man. Take the money and go. Remember not to throw up halfway. Otherwise, that means I, Chun-Shi, have misjudged you. I swayed and bent over to pick up the card placed on the table. Thank you, Miss Chun. I will remember your kindness. Then his gaze swept over Jiang Shiyu, her face extremely ugly. She stared at me fiercely, her eyes full of coldness. I turned and walked towards the door, my stomach churning, feeling extremely uncomfortable, as if I was about to throw up at any moment. I clenched my fist tightly, stumbling as I pulled open the door of the private room, the blurry vision almost making me fall. Fortunately, I fell against the door, hitting my head heavily on it, instantly becoming much more awake. The people behind me exclaimed, That was a hard hit. I'm afraid he's not going to be okay. Will something bad happen? Jiang Shiyu sneered. It was his own choice. He's responsible if something happens. Hearing her words, I suddenly felt it was ridiculous. The person I saved with my life seemed to just want me to die. Yes, no matter if the past sacrifices were worth it or not. They were all my choices, weren't they? I braced myself and stood steady, leaving the private room and staggering towards the door. For the first time, I felt that this path seemed very, very long, and the surrounding sounds seemed to disappear. I just wanted to reach the door quickly, but that door seemed very, very far. The door is just ahead. In the faint light, a figure seemed to be standing. She was wearing a white dress, smiling and waving to me. The smile was still the smile in my memory. The person was still the person in my memory. But this smile, I hadn't seen it for a long time. I clutched my painful abdomen, reached out towards the front, but that blurry figure suddenly disappeared. Another wave of nausea surged up, and I immediately woke up. It turned out that it was all a hallucination. The person in my memory was now clearly standing in front of me, but I could no longer reach out to touch her. Pain made beads of sweat appear on my forehead, and I gritted my teeth and rushed towards the door. I ran to the trash can on the side of the road and threw up everything, the pungent, spicy smell filling my throat, choking me until my eyes were red. With heart-wrenching pain, I forced myself to finish throwing up, then stumbled and fell by the flower bed next to me. I knew I was drunk. I was completely out of it. My whole body was in so much pain that I felt like I was going to die. My legs were weak, so I had to lean against the flower bed and sit down. I didn't know how long I sat there. I only felt someone nudging me. "Young man, how did you fall asleep here?" I woke up in a panic, instinctively reaching for my pocket. The card was still there, and I breathed a sigh of relief, immediately sobering up and preparing to go back. Turning around, I discovered that Jiang Xiyu was standing behind me, looking at me with a dark expression. "You still haven't improved at all. You're risking your life for money." I knew she was talking about me drinking, but this was my life-saving money. How could I not try my best? I squeezed out a bitter smile. Of course, who in this world doesn't love money? Upon hearing this, Jiang Xiyu's face turned black, and then a cold voice came. "You love money that much, huh? Since you chose to come back to die. Fine, then I'll cut off your money. I'll make it impossible for you to survive in Haicheng." Of course, I knew she had the ability to do that, but not yet. Did we have to end up this way? I looked up at her. "What exactly do you want to let me go? What? How do you think I should let you go?" Jiang Xiyu approached me step by step, her cold gaze piercing through me. She stood in front of me, staring at me fiercely. "I want you to die." As she said this, the hatred in her eyes was like sharp knives stabbing at me. So she hated me this much. Even if I had abandoned her in the past, it shouldn't be this much hatred. Was there something else going on here? I gritted my teeth and said, "It's true that I left without saying goodbye back then, but there's no need for you to hate me so much. It was just a relationship. Did you really take it seriously?" My words made Jiang Xiyu instantly furious. She raised her hand and slapped me. "Did you think I was mad because of your pathetic relationship? You think too highly of yourself." Her eyes were red. The emotions in her heart seemed to surge out, and her whole body was trembling violently. My face immediately began to burn. If it wasn't that, then what was it? Tears welled up in her eyes as she looked at me, but she never revealed the truth. I had a faint feeling that there was something I didn't know about, otherwise she wouldn't hate me so much. If it was really because of that deep love, I understood her feelings all too well. The person you love betrays you and leaves you when you're most helpless. That's harder to accept than anything else. But the feeling she gave me seemed like there was something else. Just at this moment, Su Jincheng appeared. He rushed over directly and held Jiang Xiyu in his arms, showing concern. "Xiyu, how are you? Are you okay?" Jiang Xiyu didn't speak. She just looked sadly at Su Jincheng, as if she had found a lifeline. "I'm fine, let's go." Seeing Jiang Xiyu's eyes redden, Su Jincheng then looked at me, his gaze cold. "Big brother, did you say something? Why did you make Xiyu cry?" I was speechless. Seeing that I didn't speak, Su Jincheng continued. "After all these years, haven't you hurt Xiyu enough? It's already not easy for her to support the entire Jiang family. She finally got through it. You don't know how hard she worked." Of course, I knew how hard she worked. For one person to bring a business on the verge of bankruptcy back from the dead, to make it bigger and stronger, that takes a lot of courage and sacrifice. Originally, she should have been a carefree person, but now she had become a strong woman who no longer smiled. Su Jincheng's words left me truly speechless. But it was not his place to say anything here. This is between Jiang Xiyu and me. It's none of your business. After I finished speaking, I turned around and was about to leave. My originally uncomfortable stomach had started to hurt just now. Seeing that I was going to leave, Su Jincheng directly rebuked me. "Stop right there. Although you're my older brother, I still have to say, if you really feel even a shred of guilt for what happened back then you should leave Haicheng and never show up again." I did feel sorry for Jiang Xiyu, but I couldn't leave Haicheng right now. My mother had returned to Haicheng for medical treatment. If we went to another place, not only would she not be able to handle it, but the difficulty of reimbursement would also be greater. I smiled. For what happened back then, why should I feel apologetic? It was just a normal breakup between a man and a woman. Upon hearing this, Su Jincheng directly charged over in anger, wanting to stand up for Jiang Xiyu. "It's a pity she was so deeply in love, yet she received such cold-hearted words from you." I raised my eyes to look at Su Jincheng. It was a pity he wasn't an actor. If he entered the circle, he could easily win a Best Actor award. Jiang Xiyu pulled back the impulsive Su Jincheng and looked at me with disappointment. "Remember what you said today? I will make you kneel down and beg me." I sneered and forced a smile. "Then I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint Miss Jiang. I kneel to heaven and earth, but not to anyone else." After I finished speaking, I turned and left. Jiang Xiyu roared angrily. "You better not fall into my hands." Her gaze was indignant as she looked at me, and her eyes held endless anger and sadness. "Remember this, even if you're going to die, you can only die in my hands." Jiang Shiyu also turned and left. The two of us finally walked in opposite directions, back to back. I endured the pain and returned to the hospital, taking a painkiller. The moment I got the examination report, I felt like my whole world had darkened. Why'd I have to be diagnosed with this at this time? Late-stage stomach cancer. Although my heart was a bit unwilling, I had no choice but to accept this outcome. In the face of life and death, we never have a choice. It moves forward without hesitation, impossible to resist. Thinking of my mother lying in bed, I could only bite the bullet and pretend to be calm. Doctor, how long can I live in this condition? The doctor looked at the examination results, his face troubled as he shook his head. Fate always seemed to pick out the most miserable people to torment. A rope always breaks at its weakest point. Thank you, doctor, I understand. I held the report and walked out of the doctor's office, returning to my mother's hospital room door, looking through the crack in the door at my mother inside the room. Just when I was distracted, the nurse pushed the door open. I hurriedly stuffed the list into my pocket. Smiling, I walked in. Mom, are you feeling any better? My mother saw me and forced a smile. I'm fine. I just feel really tired sometimes. Why isn't this sickness getting better? Could it be some other ailment? I try to smile. How could it be? It's just a cold, a bit serious, that's all. You know, the flu, when it's bad, can take 10 or 15 days, causing fatigue. It's all right, just trust the doctor. My mother nodded as if she understood. Under the cabinet by my bed, there's a booklet. Go get the money out. The money in my social security card, and all those other bits and pieces are there. I shook my head. No need. I have money. Don't you worry about that. Leaving the ward, a group leader who had previously helped me find work suddenly messaged me, saying there was a driver job they could introduce me to. A rare opportunity, Sunan. The boss is very generous, paying $30,000 to $50,000 a month. I was a little tempted, but considering my health, I could only decline. However, the group leader insisted on meeting me in person. After all, they had helped me before, and I couldn't refuse, so I made an excuse to leave the hospital. I went directly to the address they sent me, and before I could even speak, they enthusiastically pulled me over. Come, this is a rare opportunity. Sign the contract first, and then you can start right away. I'm sorry, I might not be suitable. I'm not feeling well. I shook my head and refused, but they just shoved the pen into my hand. You can take time to recover. A great job like this is hard to find anywhere. Besides, if you don't have money, how will you treat your illness? They seemed very anxious, and it was obvious they had received some sort of benefit. Before I could say anything, they pulled out an ink pad from who knows where, and, pulling my hand, half coaxed and half forced me to press my fingerprint on the contract. Then, they happily called towards a room inside. Miss Jiang, the contract is signed. Now you can leave with her. Miss Jiang. Before I could ask, Jiang Shiyu came out from inside with a cold face and nodded. Very good. The moment I saw her, I froze on the spot. So, this was all a calculated plan. I immediately grabbed my things from the table, ready to leave. I'm sorry, I can't do this job. Please find someone else. The group leader's face immediately changed. The contract is already signed. You can't back out. Otherwise, according to the contract, you will have to pay compensation. I'm sorry, I have health problems. I can't accept this job. Jiang Shiyu looked at me coldly. What illness? Are you about to die? That would be even better. I can watch you slowly die in front of Qin Yin. Her words were cold and without warmth, like a bone-piercing ice pick stabbing into my chest. This was the person I once loved deeply, loved with my life. At that moment, I felt like I had fallen into an ice cellar, and I had no strength to explain anything. I tightly gripped the contract in my hand. The test results were in my pocket, but I didn't have the courage to take them out. I'm sorry, I really can't handle this job. Please cancel this contract. Cancel? That's impossible, unless you have the ability to pay the enormous compensation. And not only that, Miss Jiang also has the right to seek damages from you. This was a well-planned scheme from the start. She knew I was desperate for money, and she had specially contacted someone I knew before, making me less vigilant. Jiang Shiyu put the contract away and looked at me. Either be my driver and be at my beck and call, or pay the money. It's your choice. She didn't give me any chance to argue or back out and walked directly towards the door. I knew this was her revenge. If I stayed by her side, nothing good would come of it. She had said, don't easily fall into her hands. I reached out and grabbed her. What do you want me to do for you to let me go? After being pulled by me, Jiang Shiyu stopped, turning to look at me. You want me to let you go? I took a deep breath. What happened before was my fault. But if we keep going like this, neither of us will be happy. Why not just let me go? Wouldn't it be better for both of us to have peace? Jiang Shiyu sneered. Dream on? I told you. I want to watch you die. I knew it wouldn't be easy to get her to give up. Tell me, how can I get out of this contract? There's no way out. Follow the contract. Either go to work or go to court. With that, she shook off my hand and left without looking back. I knew I had no choice. But if it could save my mother's life, then I could only grit my teeth and fulfill the contract and become Jiang Shiyu's driver. I just didn't know what I would be facing. Did things between us have to reach this point? If this could make her feel a little better, then I'll just consider my atonement. The group owner watched Jiang Shiyu leave and hurriedly took out his phone to check the remaining balance. He had received a lot of benefits for tricking me into signing the contract. I went directly to him and splashed a glass of water on his face. Before he could react, I quickly went out the door. Back at the hospital, I explained a few things to the caregiver and then went to internal medicine to get some medication. After reviewing my test results, the doctor said in confusion, "Young man, you still have a chance to be cured if you get treatment." "Thank you, but let's try conservative treatment first. I'll take some medicine for now." The doctor helplessly shook his head. "Okay, then I'll prescribe some medicine for you. It's considered mid-stage right now. Don't delay it any further. If it progresses to late stage, there will be no hope." "Okay, thank you, doctor." After coming out of the doctor's office, I decided to go back to the Su family. It was also a place I had wanted to return to countless times, even though it had ultimately abandoned me again. But I still wanted to try. If they could help me temporarily get through this crisis, then I wouldn't have to be Jiang Shiyu's driver. Seeing me appear, my biological father, Su Jianghai, looked at me coldly. "What are you doing here?" I looked at him. If it wasn't for the fact that his blood was flowing through me, I really wouldn't want to come back. This is my home after all. Am I not allowed to come back? Su Jianghai just kept a cold face. "Did you forget what you said 3 years ago?" Of course, I hadn't forgotten, but was it just because I insisted on money back then that I agreed to give him a kidney that I wasn't worthy of returning? "Father, have you forgotten that your body also has a part of me? You said back then that our blood ties wouldn't be severed. Why are you denying it now?" At that time, he suddenly came to our door and said he wanted to make amends to my mother and me. I thought my parents could reconcile, and I was full of expectations for a new life. But later I found out that Su Jianghai needed a kidney. For some reason, his and Su Min's child, Su Jinsheng, wasn't a match. So, he thought of me. Because of my youthful yearning for a family, I naively thought that helping him would allow our family to live in harmony. But in the end, I discovered that what awaited me was, after all, still hell. Upon hearing my words, Su Jianghai's face turned dark. After all, he did survive because of me back then. While he didn't care about the so-called family ties, he cared about his reputation. After pondering for a long while, he spoke again. "You came back this time just for money again?" Su Jianghai had already heard from Su Jinsheng that I had not only returned, but had also returned poor and destitute. He had heard that I was working odd jobs everywhere. He had heard that I was sponging off wealthy women for drinks at bars. Su Jinsheng had spewed out all the fabricated lies he could, just to make Su Jianghai believe that I had returned for money. Since Su Jianghai asked so directly, I just got straight to the point. "Yes." Su Jianghai slammed his hand on the table. "Besides asking me for money, do you have anything else? Is the only meaning this family has for you is the ability to get money? Is that it?" After being pulled by me, Jiang Shiyu stopped. His face was filled with anger. Apart from his disgust towards me, nothing else could be seen. "You abandoned me back then, and then went to great lengths to bring me home. Weren't you doing it for another purpose?" I sneered. "Between us father and son, is there even such a thing as father-son affection?" Su Jianghai's face turned from pale to red. After a long pause, he said angrily, "I have no money. I'm not a bank. I can't fill your bottomless pit. You're a gambling addict. What good would giving you more money do?" Hearing his words, I smiled. He really knew how to find excuses for me. Since that was the case, then there was no need for me to explain anything anymore. There was no family affection to speak of anyway. Nor was there any need to put on a show of returning to the family. If you still consider that I saved your life, giving me some money isn't too much to ask. Otherwise, I can't guarantee I won't tell the gossip media about what happened back then. See how you cheated and also lusted after your own son. See how the world would view you if it got out. Su Jianghai looked at me, both angry and annoyed. After all, what he had done back then was indeed not righteous. Just then, a woman dressed in elegant and luxurious clothes appeared at the door. Su Jinsheng's mother, Su Min. The moment I saw Su Min appear, all I felt in my heart was hate. I had wondered countless times, if this woman hadn't appeared, would everything have been different? Not long after my mother was kicked out of the house, Su Min married into the family and quickly became pregnant. To pave the way for her son, she took me to the park and let me get lost, then delayed reporting it to the police, causing me to be taken away and eventually sold into the deep mountains. If it wasn't for my mother's relentless efforts, there was no way I would have ever been found. And the culprit of all this claimed that I had gotten lost myself because I was being mischievous. She and her son enjoyed everything. Faced with the hostility in my eyes, Su-min felt somewhat embarrassed, but she still smiled and said, "Jianghai, the child has just returned. Don't say anything more to him. All mistakes can be forgiven." Hearing this, Su Jianghai directly scolded, "You're the only one who's this good to him. But what about him? What's his attitude? He still hasn't called you mom? What kind of behavior is that? Mom, a woman who has no blood relation to me, and even wanted me dead. What qualifications does she have?" Seeing the situation, Su-min immediately smoothed things over. "It doesn't matter if he calls me mom or not. Don't pressure the child like that. It's rare he's come back. Let's go have dinner first." I directly sneered and said, "I won't be participating in your family's harmonious dinner. After all, seeing you, I just lose my appetite." Hearing this, Su-min stood awkwardly where she was, but I still saw the flash of malice that passed through her eyes. After all, she had come out at this time to wait for me to say something hurtful. "Sunan, we really hope that we can be a harmonious family." I raised my eyes, my face full of sarcasm. "Is that so? If that was really the case, then why for so many years did no one think of giving our mother and son any help? You only came looking for me when you found out you were about to die." Su-min was immediately speechless. Su Jianghai was so angry that he couldn't speak for a long time. He was very clear in his heart. He had never even thought of finding me and bringing me back. Because he had found a new love, a new son, a new life. Su-min suddenly covered her face and sobbed aggrievedly. "It's all my fault, if only I hadn't." It's always like this, confessing like this in front of Su Jianghai, but showing a completely different face to me. "Stop crying, it's not like you did it on purpose. Go out first." Su Jianghai waved his hand impatiently. Su-min had no choice but to wipe her tears as she spoke. Okay, I'll go out first, but don't scold the child. Reason with him, try to satisfy whatever he wants. After all, we owe him." She always does this. Her goal is simple, to maintain her own persona while interfering with Su Jianghai's judgment. And Su Jianghai falls for this. Once Su-min interferes, he immediately changes his mind. "No money. You are a bottomless pit I can't fill. Either you come home to live, and I will still recognize you as my son. At home, you won't need any living expenses. If you don't want to come back and want to stay outside, I can only give you 5,000 living expenses per month. Someone with a gambling addiction like you shouldn't have money in hand. And don't you dare threaten me. I am your father. It's only right for you to save me." After he finished speaking, he turned his back directly and was about to close the door. I looked at this man who called himself my father, and my heart was unable to calm down. If I die one day, it would be a good thing for you. I clenched my fists tightly and looked at Su Jianghai. Everyone yearns for fatherly and motherly love, but for me, it has become a distant dream, and now it has turned into despair. Stop saying these useless things in front of me. If you had any ambition, things wouldn't be like this today. I will transfer the money to you every month. Don't come here again. Before closing the door, I clearly heard his complaint. How could I have a son like you? Useless. I suppressed the pain and smiled at Su Jianghai. If one day you find out that everyone around you is fake, I wonder if you would feel despair. I look forward to it. After saying this, I turned to leave, but Su Jianghai opened the door and called out to me. "What do you mean by that?" I only paused for a moment, a smile tugging at the corner of my mouth. "What do I mean? You'll find out for yourself later." Su Jianghai wouldn't easily believe the information I threw out. He coldly said, "Don't even think about using such words to confuse me. Since that's the case, then enjoy the day when the truth arrives. I wonder what your expression will be like. Remember to transfer the money. If even a cent is missing, I will expose you." After saying that, I got up and strode away. I never had much hope in the first place, and now these things were nothing more than what I had expected. As soon as I returned to my rented apartment, a car stopped at the door. Someone got out. "Hello, Mr. Su. I'm General Zhang's assistant. Just call me Shaoli. I am here to help you move." I was somewhat surprised. "Move where? Who said I was moving?" "To make it convenient for you to be available anytime, you need to move to General Zhang's villa. I can help you renew the lease here, but you need to live at General Zhang's." Assistant Lee's tone was businesslike. "Sorry, you have to agree whether you want to or not. The contract states that you must follow General Zhang's arrangements." Before I could object, Assistant Lee directly said, "Please get in the car. I haven't packed my things yet, clothes and such. You don't need to bring any of those. They have everything there. You just need to come with me." I still went inside to grab some of my things, and when I came out, Assistant Lee was standing by the car. "Please go ahead." I think I don't seem to be going to work, but rather like being kidnapped. Assistant Lee led me to Jiang Shiyu's villa. Mr. Lu, your room is on the first floor. You'll be staying here from now on. If you need anything, you can ask me or Uncle Gao. After Assistant Lee finished speaking, he left. There was no one else in the villa at this time, and the servants seemed to be gone as well. Since I was already here, I had to settle in. I could only stay here for the time being. After organizing, I went to sleep. The night seemed to pass peacefully. The next day, when I woke up in the morning, the nanny called me to come eat breakfast. Xiao Su, hurry up and eat first. Miss Jiang has to go to work later. The car is in the garage. The driver usually drives this car before work. You just have to wait outside later. I immediately got up, ate breakfast, and drove the car out, waiting for Jiang Shiyu at the door. Soon, Jiang Shiyu appeared at the door. When she saw me, she just gave me a cold glance before walking up to the car. I opened the car door for her, and she got in. We didn't say a word the whole way. She looked out the window, and I looked ahead. After we arrived at the company, she had me add her on WeChat before she got out of the car. Go buy me breakfast, the egg yolk pastry from that place in the suburbs. If you don't deliver it within half an hour, you'll be fined 1,000. After leaving those words behind, she got up and left. That was her favorite egg yolk pastry. We used to go there often. The taste was amazing, but memories are beautiful while reality is cruel. I was in the city center now. Going to the suburbs and back would take at least an hour, and it was rush hour. An hour might not even be enough. Helpless, I had to immediately drive to the suburbs, keeping an eye on the time all the way, not daring to stop. After buying it, I rushed back to the company without stopping. The timing is just right. It's fresh out of the oven, and it's still hot. Jiang Shiyu glanced at me, out of breath, took the meal box from my hand, and without even looking, threw it straight into the trash can beside her. What are you doing? I bought this based on your request. Faced with my questioning, she coldly said, it's true that it was my request, but I don't want to eat it. If I don't want to eat it, I'll throw it away. Am I supposed to listen to your opinion? Her words were cold, and her behavior made me feel like I was with a stranger. She would never have acted like this before. So, you didn't really want to eat it just now. You were just messing with me. Faced with my question, she directly admitted it. Yes, I was just messing with you. What can you do about it? You do whatever I ask you to do. It's not your turn to lecture me. I finally understood. She was just using this memory to torture me. Jiang Shiyu didn't speak, just looked at me with cold eyes. You do whatever I ask you to do. Don't be so talkative. Seeing that I had seen through her, Jiang Shiyu stopped pretending. So what? So what if I'm messing with you? The contract clearly stated that you have to do whatever I tell you to do. I looked at her again. Are you trying to ease the hatred you have for me in your heart by torturing me? Jiang Shiyu directly roared. Yes. Her face was flushed with anger, and even her eyes were red. We looked at each other for a few seconds like that, and Jiang Shiyu quickly looked away. If there's nothing else, I'll go out first. President Jiang can contact me if there's anything else. I turned and walked out of the office, and bumped into Su Jinsheng, who had just arrived at the company. Su Jinsheng was a bit surprised to see me. Sunan, what are you doing here? Are you here to see Shiyu about something? My gaze fell on the breakfast he was holding. He must have bought it for Jiang Shiyu. Someone had already bought it, but she still had to play tricks on me. I walked past Su Jinsheng directly toward the door, ignoring him. Soon, Jiang Shiyu's voice came from behind me. Jinsheng, you're here. I've been waiting for your breakfast for a long time. Su Jinsheng smiled and went up to her. There was a bit of traffic, so I was late. You weren't hungry, were you? No, I was just waiting to eat breakfast with you. After saying that, she pulled Su Jinsheng into the office. Hearing the two of them behind me, I could imagine how sweet they looked, just like we were years ago. But all of that was gone. Everything had turned into regret. My heart suddenly felt a little uncomfortable. Was this the reason she wanted me to come to her side? Just so she could torture me better at any time? I took a deep breath, went back to the car, and closed my eyes to rest. Not long after, someone knocked on the car window. I rolled down the window and saw Su Jinsheng's face. He stood by the car and smiled. Big brother, you've really gone to great lengths to get close to Shiyu again. I heard you didn't succeed in asking Dad for money. So now, you've come to get close to Shiyu, trying to win her back. I didn't succeed. For him, it was both a good thing and a bad thing. Because he didn't succeed, all that money would have been his. But also because he didn't succeed, it brought me here. Su Jinsheng simply took advantage of Jiang Shiyu's most vulnerable time to care for her, and that's how he got his chance. He knows Jiang Shiyu very well. The person she deeply loves is not him. Even if she now hates me, in Jiang Shiyu's heart, I still occupy a very large place. What? Seeing me come back, you seem very unwilling. Do you think I'll steal your family fortune or steal Shiyu? No way. Do you lack confidence in yourself? Or do you know you're not in someone's heart at all? I gave him an icy smile. These words successfully provoked Su Jincheng. He grabbed my collar, wanting to hit me. I pointed to the camera. Go ahead, hit me. There's surveillance here. We can call the police directly. Oh, right. You've worked hard all these years, spreading rumors about me being a gambling addict, creating that image for me. But Su Jincheng, don't you remember everything you did that night? Su Jincheng's face immediately changed. He let go of my hand in terror, trying hard to control his emotions. Of course he wouldn't forget. He was the one who did it, the one who personally pushed me into the abyss. I'm just being a driver for Shiyu, and you're already this nervous. So what do you think she would do if I apologized? Su Jincheng stared at me resentfully, his face cold and silent. He didn't know either what Jiang Shiyu's reaction would be if I apologized. Seeing his nervousness, I laughed. Don't worry, just don't provoke me. I just want to quietly earn a salary. As for Jiang Shiyu, we can't go back. Su Jincheng suddenly looked up at me. Are you sure nothing will happen? We are already impossible. After getting my definite answer, Su Jincheng finally released my hand. I hope you keep your word. Otherwise, crushing you would be as easy as crushing an ant. I snorted coldly, not taking his threat to heart at all. Is that so? Then you'd better find a place without surveillance. Otherwise, your words and actions can easily be used against you. I rolled up all the car windows, no longer hearing any of his angry words outside. Su Jincheng's words were all choked back. He looked around vigilantly at the surveillance cameras, the car's dashcam. After a long silence, he finally left in a fit of anger. Not long after resting in the car, I received a call from the nurse. Mr. Su, please come to the hospital. Your mother is demanding to go home. We can't persuade her no matter what. Please come as soon as you're available. I had no choice but to drive Jiang Shiyu's car to the hospital immediately. When I arrived at the hospital, the nurse was trying to persuade my mother. My mother saw me and immediately went forward with red eyes. Xiaonan, why did you lie to me? Didn't you say it was just a common cold? Why is it this kind of illness? In just a few days, my mother lost a lot of weight. She looked at me with tearful eyes. My heart suddenly felt incredibly heavy, a wave of bitterness surging up. I'm sorry, Mom, I didn't mean to. I was just afraid you wouldn't accept it. My mother never remarried in her life, raising me single-handedly until I went to university, enduring hardships for decades. She finally waited for me to get into a good university. I met Jiang Shiyu there. Our relationship was great, and after graduation, I even found a good job. We discussed bringing my mother to live with us after we got married, just when I thought everything was perfect. The Su family was schemed against, suffered financial losses, and was on the verge of bankruptcy. My biological father also revealed his true intentions. Before I even had the chance for her to enjoy life, on the day I was discharged from the hospital after donating a kidney, I was ambushed, thrown into the sea, and almost died. In the end, dragging my broken body back to find my mother, she saved me once again. Again and again, she has saved me. How could I just abandon her like this? Mom, don't worry, it's not really a big problem, really. Hearing my words, my mother held back the tears welling in her eyes and took my hand, saying, let's not treat it, let's go home. I'm already old anyway. No matter how much treatment there is, it'll only be a few more years. Your road is still long. Why waste the money? Listening to my mother's words, the bitterness in my heart went straight to the tip of my nose. My road might not even be as long as hers. I owe her too much. If I can't repay her before I go, I won't be at peace. Don't worry. Your illness can be controlled and you'll get better. Besides, I have savings. Have you forgotten? Over the years, we saved a lot of money. And with medical insurance reimbursements, it won't be much. What I can do now is to dispel her worries, to make her feel that the burden is not much. But the worry in my mother's eyes didn't lessen. She was always worried that she would be a burden on me. But I see that the payment slips are for so much money. It's not like you said at all. That's because they haven't been reimbursed yet. And this can be used for major illness medical reimbursement. You know the current policies are good. My mother sighed deeply, shaking her head repeatedly. No, I want to go home. You're like this. I can only play the family card. Mom, are you willing to leave me? Besides you, I don't have any other family left in this world. How am I supposed to survive in this world alone? The person who loved me the most has already left. What's left is just fake kinship. My mother looked at me sadly, tears streaming down her face, choking out. How could I be willing? How could I be willing? Looking at my mother, I couldn't control myself any longer, and tears followed. The two of us cried bitterly in the hospital room. In this world, we only have each other left. After comforting my mother and lulling her to sleep, I immediately rushed to the doctor's office. Mr. Sue, your mother's situation can't be delayed. You need to make a decision as soon as possible on the treatment plan and schedule it. As I told you before, her situation is acute. If it can be controlled earlier, the chances of success are very high. Thank you, doctor. I'll go find a way now. Can you arrange it immediately? I know that once patients are delayed, they start to become anxious, not because of the illness itself, but because of a shift in their mentality. The doctor was a little helpless. I wanted to, but your money hasn't been fully collected. We also have to listen to the leadership. That's the rule here. I grabbed the doctor's hand. Please arrange it immediately. I promise I'll have the money by 12 o'clock tomorrow. You have to believe me. I will definitely do it. I will absolutely not let my mother miss this opportunity, even if I have to give it my all, even my own life. Do it as soon as you can. The doctor finally relented. Just as I walked out of the doctor's office, Jiang Shiyu's phone rang. I adjusted my mood. What's the matter? I want to ask where you are. I came out to take care of some things. Take care of things? Don't you know you're still on the clock? Get back here quickly. I want to see you in 10 minutes. Before I could speak, Jiang Shiyu hung up the phone. I had no choice but to hurry and drive back. She was standing downstairs at the company waiting for me. Leaving your post during work hours, deduct 500. She said, throwing something in her hand to me. Emperor Club, I need to go sign a contract. I caught what she threw at me and set off, the two of us in silence as usual. She looked out the window without any expression. I didn't know what she would think when I spoke the words I had been brewing for so long. After all, they seemed absurd, outrageous, and even a little shameless to me. All the way, I was driving absent-mindedly, either slamming on the brakes or slamming on the brakes, almost causing rear-end collisions several times. Jiang Shiyu was very dissatisfied. What do you want? Murder? Do you want to die with me that badly, so I'll let you go? Don't worry. I'll still chase you even if you go to the underworld. I took a deep breath. Sorry, I'm just a little tired. Tired? I think you slept quite soundly last night. I suddenly realized that she had been to my room last night. So, President Jiang still hasn't changed her habit of sneaking into people's rooms while they're sleeping. I'll have to lock my door tighter from now on. She used to like to secretly watch me sleep, and I would always catch her, but maybe I was just too tired this time. But why did she go to my room at night? Jiang Shiyu scoffed. You better lock it up tight. I'm afraid I might not be able to resist the urge to grab a knife from the kitchen and rush in. I shook my head bitterly. Thanks for the reminder. The joke was said with a smile, but the sadness was real. After brewing for a long time, as Jiang Shiyu was getting out of the car, I stopped her. President Jiang, I have a request. It took all my courage to say these words, and Jiang Shiyu turned to look at me in disbelief. Where do you get the nerve to ask me for something? Who gave you the courage? I really wasn't qualified. I abandoned her back then, and now I'm shamelessly asking her for help. There was no justification for it. But for my mother's illness, I could only bite the bullet and try. Even if I got her cold stare, her ridicule, even if she would trample my dignity underfoot. If it could save my mother's life, then what would all that mean to me? Because my broken body didn't have much time left anyway. I had to give it my all for my mother. I gritted my teeth and said, could you give me a year's salary in advance? I need it urgently. As soon as these words came out, Jiang Shiyu laughed, and after a long while, she said, are you out of your mind? Or have you completely forgotten what you did in the past? She was about to leave. I stepped forward and stopped her. It's really urgent. She glared at me, her voice cold. Get out of my way. I'm in a hurry to sign a contract. Even if you're in a hurry, what does it have to do with me? I took a deep breath, my gaze dimming slightly. I know it sounds like a pipe dream, but I really need the money. In the future, you can treat me however you want, and I won't utter a single word of protest. You can do whatever you want. If you're really not comfortable, I can sign a contract of life and death. Once I get the money, you can take my life. Dispose of me as you wish. Jiang Shiyu angrily reached out and grabbed my collar. Have you forgotten how you treated me back then? If you don't remember, I can help you refresh your memory. Her satisfaction was filled with anger. Her eyes only held hatred. Of course I knew how much she had suffered, how difficult it was for her back then. So I also knew how deep the damage I'd caused her was, and also how much she hated me now. I know, I'm sorry, I apologize to you, a sincere apology. Faced with my apology, Jiang Shiyu showed no sign of forgiveness. Her expression only became colder. Can a few words of apology erase the damage of all these years? Just because you apologize means I have to forgive you. Jiang Shiyu suddenly pushed me away, her eyes full of hatred, a look that sent shivers down your spine. You want me to forgive you? You can, unless you die. Unless I die, the hatred in her heart won't dissipate. So that's how it is? I couldn't help but feel a little inexplicably sad. The person I saved with my life now wants my life. Okay, if you want my life, you can take it anytime. It's just that I really need this money. Jiang Shiyu scrutinized me. You really haven't changed your old bad habits, still trying to trick me out of my money and then disappear? Do you think I'm stupid? Or do you just think you're so clever? You want to use the same trick twice. Last time you scammed my dad out of his money. This time you want to scam me out of mine? I was speechless. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Jiang Shiyu scolded again. Sunan, you really are a dog that can't stop eating shit. Unfortunately, I won't believe you this time. Hurry up and come in. Otherwise, you can wait for your salary to be docked to nothing. I had no choice but to follow her in immediately. The project negotiation went relatively smoothly in the evening, and during the discussion, it was time for drinking. Jiang Shiyu made an excuse that she wasn't feeling well and told me to take her place in drinking. I'm sorry, mister. While my stomach hasn't been feeling too well recently. This is my new assistant. Is it okay for him to drink for me? Mister. Wang glanced at me and said with a smile, of course, if Manager Jiang says she's not feeling well, I can't force her. I knew this was Jiang Shiyu's intention, but I could only bite the bullet and drink with him. But this Mr. Wang seemed to have some conflict with Jiang Shiyu as well, repeatedly getting close to me, desperately forcing me to drink. Come on, little Sue. Let's have another drink, another cup. The alcohol stimulated my stomach, making me more and more uncomfortable, and the pain gradually made cold sweat appear on my forehead. I'm sorry, Mr. Wang. I really can't hold my liquor. How about we stop here? Mr. Wang glanced at Jiang Shiyu, his tone dissatisfied. Your assistant is a little ungrateful. Jiang Shiyu coldly swept a glance at me. Mr. Wang is drinking with you out of respect. Hurry up and drink. But I still have to drive you back later. Isn't there a designated driver? So, you don't have to worry. Just make Mr. Wang happy. I don't know if she can tell that I'm feeling bad. She said she saw it, but pretended not to care whether I lived or died. I had no choice but to grit my teeth and force myself to go along, until the pain became unbearable, and I made an excuse to go to the restroom. My stomach was churning, and I threw up everything in the restroom, feeling much better afterward. I washed my face, and it wasn't until after a while that I felt comfortable. Only then did I come out of the restroom. As soon as I was halfway back, I ran into Chun-Shi. She was a little surprised to see me. By this point, I was flushed red from drinking and reeked of alcohol. What are you doing here? And why did you drink so much? I felt a bit awkward. I came with President Jiang to discuss work. The President Jiang you're talking about wouldn't happen to be Jiang Shiyu, would it? I nodded, and Chun-Shi laughed. That one, after how she treated you last time, I thought you two were enemies. But wouldn't you know it, she got you right by her side. Chun-Shi said this as she approached me, gently raising my chin. Tell me, how much is she paying you? Or, how about you resign from her place and come work for me? I'll pay you double. How about that? Chun-Shi's eyes were a bit lustful as she looked at me. I knew what she was thinking. After all, my looks weren't bad. In a crowd, I would be considered relatively handsome. But to her, I was nothing more than a toy she wanted during her phase of novelty. I instinctively took a few steps back, creating some distance between us. I'm sorry, I signed a contract. I can't breach it, and I don't have the money to pay the penalty. Upon hearing that, Chun-Shi smiled and moved closer again. That's easy. I'll pay for whatever you need to. You just need to be with me and be obedient, and there will be plenty of benefits. However much money you want, you can name it. You can drive any car, live in any house. How much money per month? As long as it's not outrageous, I can satisfy you. As Chun-Shi spoke, she gently placed her hand on my chest. The conditions she offered were indeed tempting, making me feel somewhat moved. But I also knew that good things don't fall from the sky. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Chun-Shi became a little annoyed. What did that Jiang use to bewitch you? Or did she give you more money than me? I smiled. No, it's not that. Not everyone is as generous as President Chun. Hearing that, Chun-Shi smiled. In that case, you name your price. Make it quick, my patience is also limited. It's easy to find someone more handsome than you. Is it 100,000 a month? Or 200,000? Or just name your price. Hearing the amount she mentioned, I was speechless for a long while. That money was indeed very tempting to me. A month or two would solve many of my problems. 1 or 200,000 was nothing to them. But I also knew that once they got their hands on me, they would throw me away after they got bored. At that point, I would probably be worthless. But I had no other choice. I am indeed short of money, very short. Can Miss Chun really solve my problems? Chun-Shi immediately nodded. Of course, as long as you can say it, there's nothing I can't do. However, I also want to hear your conditions first. After all, we still need a fair exchange, right? Since Jiang Shiyu was unwilling to help, I could only seek help from her. Even if it was a breach of contract, even if she hated me again, or even if she looked down on me once more. Since President Chun is so sincere, if I still don't speak up, it would be foolish. I do need money, and urgently. If President Chun can help me solve it, I will be at your disposal from now on. Chun-Shi's eyes became even more aggressive. Tell me, how much money do you need to solve your problems? I gritted my teeth. I need 2 million. I hope you can pay it all at once. I'll be at your disposal for a year. You can even take my life if you want. After all, it's only been a year since I've been like this. After repaying, there will be no regrets. Cure my mother's illness and leave her with some money. I finished speaking very seriously, looking at Chun-Shi waiting for her reply. Chun-Shi pondered for a moment after hearing this, then smiled. 2 million? Her smile was a bit strange, as if she thought it was not worth it, but also seemed unwilling. Why could Jiang Shiyu snag such a handsome man? Are you sure? If you are sure, then I'll ask General Jiang for the person. Just as I was about to agree, Jiang Shiyu's voice sounded behind me. What's this? General Chun wants to poach my people? While speaking, Jiang Shiyu had already arrived in front of us. General Chun, are you planning to poach my people with a high price? Is he really worth that much? Her gaze was full of contempt. Chun-Shi didn't expect to poach someone right in front of the person in charge, and gave an embarrassed smile. I didn't expect General Jiang to hear it, but since you did, that makes things easier. Why don't you let him go to me? I'll let you have the next good project. I stood between them, being discussed like an object, but what could I do? Many things seemed to be out of my control, and I was powerless to resist. Jiang Shiyu looked at me coldly. General Chen says she wants you. What are your thoughts? She seemed to be giving me the initiative, but in reality, she wanted to explore my true feelings. I looked up at her and slowly said, it's rare that General Chen appreciates me and is even willing to offer such a high price. This just solves my problem. With such good conditions, how could I not be tempted? Jiang Shiyu didn't get angry after hearing this, but instead sneered. You really are greedy for money. You're so easily attracted by such petty gains. I shrugged. Of course, this is money that I couldn't earn even after working for many years. Besides, following General Chun, I won't have to worry about the future. I spoke casually, but was met with an unexpected slap from Jiang Shiyu. That loud slap directly made my eyes see stars, and my face immediately burned with pain. It could be seen that she used a lot of force in that slap. Even the Chun-Shi beside her was shocked. Jiang Shiyu's voice trembled. You really forget your master the moment you turn around. I haven't even agreed yet, and you're already planning your future. Do you think that General Chun is someone that you are worthy of? She hadn't expected that. For money, I would actually want to follow Chun-Shi. For money, I could be so bottomless that I would even give up my most basic dignity. She looked at me coldly. For money, you don't even want your face anymore, do you? My tone was calm. Face? What is face? Can it be eaten? I need money right now. Whoever gives me more, I'll follow them. Whoever gives me money is my master. As soon as I thought of my mother, who was still lying in the hospital bed in urgent need of money, my emotions began to get agitated. I said I urgently need money. Since President Jiang can't give it to me, I have no choice but to look for someone else. Since you think I'm so terrible, why don't you let go? Why do you keep pestering me? Chun-Shi, who was watching from the side, couldn't stand it anymore. Afraid that we would continue arguing, she quickly stepped forward to change the subject. Mr. Su, what do you need so much money for? You wouldn't really be in some kind of trouble, would you? If so, just say it. President Jiang wouldn't refuse to help. President Jiang is the vice president of the Charity Association. If you have any difficulties, just say so directly. What else could it be for? He's a gambling addict. I'm afraid he's going to use it to pay off his gambling debts. Jiang Shiyu coldly snorted. Last time, I don't know how much money he swindled. After taking the money, he disappeared. He just wants to repeat the same trick this time. As soon as Jiang Shiyu said this, Chun-Shi's face immediately changed. So it turns out you were this kind of person. Luckily you came early, otherwise I would have been cheated too. You guys should handle this yourselves. I'll take my leave first. After Chun-Shi finished speaking, she immediately left, leaving only me and Jiang Shiyu. Helpless. I opened my mouth with bitterness. This time it's not because of gambling, nor is it for other things. I really need the money. Please believe me this time. Jiang Shiyu chuckled. Okay, I can believe you. Go kneel in front of my mother's tombstone for a day and a night, and maybe I'll consider it. When she said this, I could see her trembling body and her clenched fists. Although I couldn't see her expression, I could feel the hatred in her tone. When we were together, Jiang's mother treated me like her own son. She didn't dislike my background, nor did she dislike that I had nothing. She even helped me, but I didn't go to see her when she was seriously ill and hospitalized. I even left Jiang Shiyu at that time. It's right for her to hate me so much. Okay, I'll go. If it can eliminate the hatred in your heart, then I can kneel until you are satisfied. Jiang Xiu suddenly gave a cold laugh, followed by the sound of her choking voice. Until I'm satisfied? Is it just me that you hurt? How good was my mother to you back then? Don't you remember? She was even preparing to let you take over the company. But what about you? You left when she was seriously ill and when I needed help the most. Jiang Xiu tightly clenched her fists. Mentioning her mother was the pain in her heart. It was because of how much she was hurting that she now held hatred. I hadn't appeared at all in those few days when the incident happened. Jiang Xiu thought I was busy, so she still held out hope and waited for me. But for an entire week, I had no news, no phone calls, no messages, nothing. Others told her that maybe because I saw something bad happen to the Jiang family, I was afraid of being implicated and ran away. After all, at such times, anyone who had anything to do with the Jiang family was eager to sever ties. Let alone someone like me, who was in the rising stage of my career. Why would I want to get tangled in their mess? When others said these things, Jiang Xiu didn't believe them. She didn't believe that I would be that kind of person. He's not that kind of person. I believe him. He must have his own reasons. Despite everyone's doubts, Jiang Xiu chose to believe me. But then, 1 week later, one evening, she received a decisive text message from me. Every word piercing, every sentence heartless. Even so, she still didn't believe it, didn't want to believe it. She wanted to call me to confirm, but I had already blocked her. Not even our mutual friends or classmates could contact me. No one knew where I had gone, nor did anyone know why I had suddenly disappeared. It was like I had evaporated from the world. It was only then that Jiang Xiu understood. Those people were telling the truth. I really had abandoned her. At this time, I actually left her, gave up everything, and disappeared. And just at this moment, bad news came from the hospital. She didn't have time to pull herself away from the reality of my disappearance. She rushed to the hospital again, juggling taking care of her mother and dealing with company matters. She endured the hardest, most difficult, and most helpless days alone. What you hurt, what you failed, is my mother's devotion to you. Go see if she'll forgive you first. Looking at her reddened eyes, my heart ached so much that I couldn't breathe, a piercing pain. But I had no way to go forward and tell her the truth. If she knew the truth, how would she accept it? If she really knew the truth, how would she face the rest of her life? So I'd rather say nothing. Anyway, I don't have much time left, so I'll just take the truth to my grave. I desperately restrained my inner suffering. It was me, wasn't it, Annie? I'm willing to kneel and beg for her forgiveness. Whether she forgives me or not, I must go to her grave to atone. Jiang Xiu turned her face away, her tone cold. Then go. Kneel for a day and a night. If you can still stand before me, I'll buy your cheap life. After speaking, Jiang Xiu quickly left. I followed her outside, where it had started pouring rain, a torrential downpour engulfing the whole city. She stood at the door, took out her phone, and called insistently. Come pick me up. I took the opportunity to ask again. The words you just said, were they serious? She turned around, and I moved a step, standing in the rain. The rain quickly soaked my whole body, water streaming down my face. We stood in the rain, looking at each other. Her dark eyes looked at me. I couldn't see the emotions in their depths. After a while, she calmly spoke. Since you're willing to risk your life for money, fine, then I'll grant your wish. My words just now count. You go kneel until tomorrow night. I stood in the heavy rain looking at her. Even though the rain blurred my vision, I still saw the ruthlessness in her eyes clearly. Okay, I hope CEO Jiang will keep her word. After saying that, I turned and walked away into the rain, going directly to Jiang Xiu's mother's grave. Even though it was already night and the heavy rain hadn't stopped, I still knelt before the tomb. If I hadn't been deceived by Su Jianghai back then, hadn't been so foolish as to listen to him, would things be different? I hated my own stupidity then. The rain kept falling, soaking all my clothes, rainwater flowing down my hair like a stream. I don't know how long I had been kneeling, alone in the dark cemetery. I took out my phone and sent a video to Jiang Xiu. I'm kneeling here as you requested. I hope you can keep your word. Then I put the phone back into my pocket and waited quietly in the pitch-black night as time passed little by little. I thought I could get through it. After all, I survived such hardships back then. So this time, please God, grant me one more chance. After this, no matter the outcome, you can take this worthless life of mine as you please. Time ticked by second. The rain gradually soaked through my clothes, and I felt icy cold all over. A gust of wind blew, and a powerful chill enveloped me. My stomach also started to ache at this moment, and I felt for the pain relievers in my pocket. Luckily, I had them with me, so I took a few to alleviate the pain. But even so, my knees, kneeling on the hard stone, began to ache, and my feet gradually lost all feeling. I even became lightheaded. I didn't know how much longer I could hold on. I could only keep pinching my thighs again and again to keep myself awake. But I was so weak now. I didn't know how long I had been kneeling, the rain falling and stopping, over and over again. My clothes hadn't even dried before they were soaked again, until my whole body became numb with cold. The pain in my body, the drowsiness in my brain, made my vision suddenly go black, and I fell straight down. Because my body was already frozen before I could react, my forehead slammed into the step in front of me. The hard step was like a blade, cutting into my forehead, and the piercing pain instantly jolted me awake. I reached out to push myself up, but discovered a warm trickle flowing down from my forehead. I touched it with my hand, a patch of bright red, and when I looked down, I saw traces of blood still on the step. I quickly took out the handkerchief from my pocket and pressed it against my forehead, not daring to let go for a long time. Rainwater flowed down my hand, mixed with the blood, and big drops dripped down, instantly turning the ground in front of me a bright red. Agonizing pain, dizziness, and cold enveloped me. I don't know how long it was, but the sky gradually began to lighten. The wound on my forehead had already scabbed over, and I was kneeling in front of the tomb, awakened by a series of noises. It turned out that people had arrived. They looked at me kneeling there, whispering, but not daring to approach. A staff member noticed me and came to try to persuade me to leave, but I refused with an excuse. I thought if I just persisted a little longer, I would definitely succeed. If only Jiang Shiyu was in a better mood, then maybe my mother could be saved. The weather slowly warmed up, and the clothes on my body had dried. When the scorching sun was overhead, luckily, there was a tree behind me to provide some shade. I kept swaying and trying to hold on, as if I had entered a state of chaos. Just then, Jiang Shiyu called. This surprised me. I thought she had finally softened her heart, but the first thing she said was to urge me to give up. For my mother, there was no way I could give up. Thank you, Director Jiang. You can prepare the money. After hanging up, all sorts of memories flashed through my mind. Jiang Shiyu and I first met at the freshman orientation in university. At that time, just a glance was enough to draw us to each other. We didn't have the dramatic love that others experienced. Our love was like a calm breeze, yet deeply profound. We shared the same life goals and supported and encouraged each other. Now, looking back on all of this, it felt even sweeter than when we were together. But now, it also seemed a little ridiculous. What I had given with my life, I now had to use what was left of it to take back. Life is a cycle, and in the end, we always return to the starting point. For a moment, I truly couldn't hold on any longer, and my whole being was in a daze. I fell several times, blacking out for a moment before waking up again. This repeated itself until night. When darkness came again, I knew I had won. But at this time, I no longer had any strength left. In the end, my vision went black, and I passed out. When I woke up again, I found myself in the hospital ward. I don't know what time it is. I immediately sat up. My good friend Wang Wei was sitting beside my bed, and when he saw I was awake, he immediately came forward. Sunan, you're finally awake. Sigh, you really scared me to death. I was a bit surprised. What are you doing here? He pulled out his phone, and I realized that someone had filmed a video of my situation. Wang Wei had found out about me because of this video. As a result, he had just arrived at the cemetery when he saw me collapsed on the ground, so he sent me to the hospital. After a hasty thank you, I was about to leave to find Jiang Shiyu. My mother's illness couldn't be delayed. But Wang Wei stopped me. Where are you going again? Why were you kneeling there? I didn't want him to know about my past, so I was vague. That's just a personal matter between me and someone else. It's nothing. Once this is resolved, everything will be fine. I threw off the covers, wanted to get out of bed to find Jiang Shiyu, but Wang Wei pulled me back. You're not going anywhere. You're going to stay here and get treated. I looked at the time outside. It was already almost midnight. If I didn't show up, I wouldn't get that money. No, I have to go really. I'll be right back. I tried to loosen Wang Wei's grip on my arm, but he wouldn't let go. You're not allowed to go anywhere. I really have something to do. I can't waste any time. I anxiously explained to him. He pulled me back and threw me on the bed. Sunan, do you even know what your current physical condition is? If you go out now, you'll die. Do you understand? Wang Wei looked at me with bloodshot eyes, and at that moment, I realized that this usually rugged man was crying. I quickly realized he probably knew something, but it was okay. I had to go now. If I didn't go, what would happen to my mother? I had no other thoughts. I had nothing. I couldn't do anything. This was the last thing I could do for her. Wang Wei, believe me, I really have something to do. I'll tell you when I get back. I just got off the bed when I stumbled and fell to the ground, my whole body weak, sore, and aching. I found myself becoming unusually weak, and the world before my eyes began to spin. Wang Wei hurriedly helped me up, his voice trembling. You're already like this. Where are you still going? What on earth is so important that you're willing to throw away your life? I know everything. You don't have to hide it from me anymore. Wang Wei held me back. When he sent me over, my condition was particularly bad, and when the doctor checked my previous records, they saw the results of my previous tests. When he learned about my symptoms, he was completely stunned, and after a long time, he stuttered as he asked, Doctor, this. I know this person. He came here last time. Another doctor suddenly spoke. It should have been over a month ago. He kept putting off treatment. His mother is also in the hospital. He hasn't adopted our advice yet and is taking conservative treatment. Only then did Wang Wei understand why I was looking for one job after another, constantly working several jobs. It turned out I had been silently shouldering so much pressure. You still need to persuade him to cooperate with the treatment. He is still so young. After Wang Wei came back, he looked at me in a coma, and my increasingly thin face and parched lips. He couldn't hold back anymore and covered his face to cry bitterly. In his memory, I was always smiling, carefree. I never talked to others about my past, but most of the time, I was always spacing out by myself. It was only now that he understood that all those terrible days were being carried by me alone. You've encountered so many things, and you haven't said a word to your brother. You don't even treat me like a brother. Your aunt is sick, something so big, and you don't say a word about it. And your health. I raised my eyes to look at him, my chest filled with a sour ache. How could I not know? But what could I do? Life and death were not up to me. I know you mean well for me, but if I can't arrive before 12 o'clock, I won't be able to get the money for my mother's treatment. Wang Wei looked at me in surprise. What do you mean? Who are you going to see? You didn't kneel in the cemetery for a whole day and night just for your mother's medical bills, did you? He was somewhat incredulous. She's not trying to help at all. The condition she set is practically asking for your life. I know, and you're still going to do it? Is it worth it? I shook my head weakly. It's worth it. This is what I owe her. Wang Wei's eyes instantly turned red. But what about you? What are you going to do? Me? I gave a bitter smile. In this world, people either hate me or want me dead. I have nothing left to cherish. There are things I'll tell you later. It's not the right time yet. I'm only asking you. Please don't tell anyone. I mean anyone. Wang Wei didn't speak. He couldn't imagine how I could bear this all alone. Who am I hiding this from? Who needs me to keep it secret? You have to promise me, no matter what happens in the future, you can't say anything. Otherwise, I won't be able to be friends with you anymore. Seeing my pleading gaze, he reluctantly turned his body away, remaining silent for a long time. A moment later, he turned back. Where are you going? I'll take you there. I looked outside. I should still make it at this time. He gave me his jacket and helmet and bought me a meat bun. Eat something first. Tell me the address, and I'll take you. I took the bun he handed me, took a bite, and the scent of meat instantly made my nose tingle. The sourness rushed tears to my eyes. Afraid he would see, I quickly stuffed the bun in my mouth and put on the helmet. The night wind was still very cold, but at this moment, my heart felt a moment of warmth. Zhang Xiyu had been distracted all day. By the time she finished work and came out of the hotel, it was already dark. She looked at the time. It was already past the agreed time, and I hadn't shown up. I knew he didn't have the patience. Assistantly, you misjudged him this time? Assistantly was still slightly worried, but didn't say anything. He just drove Zhang Xiyu back home. Just as Zhang Xiyu was dropped off at the villa gate, I, who had been squatting by the side for a long time, stood up and stopped her car. Seeing me appear, Assistant Li slammed on the brakes. Miss, he's here. Wang Wei had taken me to her villa. The security guards wouldn't let me in, but told me she hadn't returned yet and I could wait at the gate. So, I've been waiting until now. Even though I was still feeling extremely unwell, I forced myself to wait for her to appear. The moment I saw her, I mustered all my strength and rushed out, standing in front of the car. The car stopped, and after a long moment, Jiang Xiu got out. She looked at me in front of the car, expressionless. You're late. I knew long ago that she would say so, and took out my mobile phone. You can check the surveillance. I wasn't a minute off. Wang Wei said beside him, feeling indignant. He did exactly what you told him to do, and in the end he fainted in front of the grave. If I hadn't arrived in time, who knows where he'd be now? How can you go back on your word? You're just going too far? Zhang Xiu glanced at Wang Wei and let out a cold laugh. I'm going too far? Ask him. Did I force him? Did I demand it? He did it willingly. Even if he died, I wouldn't even look at him. Zhang Xiu's words made Wang Wei feel it was unreasonable. You. How can you say something like that? I quickly pulled Wang Wei, signaling him not to say anymore. Wang Wei was indignant. Sun An, she's clearly playing with you. Don't you know that? If she really wanted to give you the money, would she make such an outrageous request? She's basically trying to kill you. Jiang Xiu just smiled upon hearing that. That's right, I am playing with him. Looks like you were smarter than him. Unlike him, always daydreaming. Jiang Xiu's cold gaze fell on me, her eyes full of disdain. Although there was anger in my heart, I controlled it with all my might. Jiang Xiu, I'm not kidding. I need this money, and I did what you asked. Although Wang Wei brought me here, I also knelt until the last second. This time, it's not for gambling or because of deception. I really need this money. Upon hearing this, Jiang Xiu spoke coldly. Then tell me, what do you need this money for? Tell me, and I'll consider it. If you don't tell me, I won't give you the money. Jiang Xiu's words were firm, with an uncompromising tone. But I didn't want to tell her. Even if she knew about my mother's situation, what would it matter? Would she be sympathetic? She probably wouldn't. After all, even if someone connected to me died right in front of her, she would remain indifferent. I'll say it again, I can't tell you. But I need the money. You should keep your word. I looked at Jiang Xiu with some anger. The gentle and kind person in my memory had finally changed. Became cold, ruthless, and aloof. Seeing me say that, the expression on Jiang Xiu's face became even colder. You need to understand that you are the one asking me now, not me asking you. It's up to you whether or not you tell me. After saying that, Jiang Xiu turned around and was about to get back into the car. I stepped forward again to block her. Exactly what do you need to believe me? What will it take for you to give it to me? I've already made it very clear what I want. You are the one who doesn't want it. I stared at her, not knowing how to speak. If I spoke, then the events of that year would be impossible to hide. Seeing that I wasn't speaking, she revealed a disappointed expression. If you won't say, I'll ask you this. Is it possible you'd give up your life for this money? Jiang Xiu stared intently at me, waiting for my answer. If this was the answer she wanted, then I had no choice but to do as she wished. Yes, if my life could be exchanged for this money, I would risk my life. Hearing my words, Jiang Xiu was somewhat surprised. What kind of thing is it, or what kind of person can make me do this? She asked again, is it for someone else, or for yourself? I want to hear the truth. If you dare to lie to me, I'll make sure you don't leave Haicheng alive. I knew she could do it. After all, her current status in Haicheng was beyond my reach. I looked up at her. It's for someone else? She was a little surprised after hearing this, then seemed to think of something and smiled. Is it a woman? Yes, a woman. Hearing my answer, a hint of disbelief flashed in Jiang Xiu's eyes. It seemed she thought this was something that shouldn't have happened. I saw a hint of suspicion flash across her face. But then it turned into contempt and mockery, mixed with a trace of unwillingness. She took a deep breath, as if she had finally understood something. Is she dying? Or does she have some terminal illness? You actually love her so much that you're willing to go this far for her, even risking your own life. Jiang Xiu's words surprised me. Although she guessed correctly, I couldn't say too much. She's sick and needs money. There's no other way. Every word I've said is true. I knew that if I didn't say anything, Jiang Xiu's curiosity wouldn't stop. She would constantly challenge me, pressing harder and harder. Having received confirmation again, Jiang Xiu's face became even uglier. She couldn't believe that I would go this far for a woman, and she didn't know what kind of person could be worth me doing this. In Jiang Xiu's heart, I was a heartless man, a scumbag. I had let her down back then, so how could I possibly do something like this for someone else now? But hearing my answer, Jiang Xiu finally realized that it wasn't that Sun An didn't care about anyone, he just didn't care about her. Since you're willing to risk your life for someone else, then give your life to me. What do you mean? If you want my help, then you have to pay the price. Show me your sincerity. Before I could speak, she grabbed the keys from Lee's assistant's hand. Stand here and don't move. If you dare to move, forget about getting the money. Then she got into the car and suddenly reversed it. Aren't you capable? Then wait to be run over. If you dare to take a step, you can get lost. Hearing her words, I instantly understood her intentions. Lee's assistant broke out in a cold sweat and hurried over. Miss, please calm down. This could kill someone. Jiang Xiu just gave him a cold glance. If you dare to plead for him again, you can pack your things and get lost. Lee's assistant had no choice but to step aside, nervously watching me. Mr. Sue, you'd better think of another way. You know that Miss still holds a grudge against you. You've run into her at the worst possible time. This is practically a death sentence. I knew he was right, but I had no choice. In Haicheng, Jiang Xiu dared to go up against Chen Shi, so there was nothing she couldn't do. Even if I found another way, she could still ruin it. Thank you, but I've run out of options. Wang Wei quickly came to my side and tried to pull me away. Sunan, she's a madwoman. She just wants to kill you. He shouted hysterically, but I pushed him away. I know, but I really need the money. This is my last chance. I have no chance. None. No one is more anxious, more distressed, more helpless than me. My mother's condition changes rapidly. I must get the money as soon as possible. Now it's a race against death. Every extra minute, she has one more chance. Jiang Xiu started the car, the engine roaring loudly. Amidst the roar, she called me. I'm giving you one last chance. Either get out of the way or die. Come ahead, I absolutely won't move an inch. Just hoping you'll keep your word. If I die, I hope you give the money to Wang Wei. I looked at Wang Wei beside me. If I'm gone, please take care of my mother for me. I'll thank you from over there. Wang Wei's eyes instantly turned red. You son of a bitch. Take care of her yourself. I smiled at him, then looked at Jiang Xiu's car and quietly closed my eyes. I signed a contract with her. No matter the situation now, she doesn't have to take responsibility. Seeing that I was determined to die, Wang Wei couldn't understand. He wanted to rush up and pull me away, but was stopped by assistantly. Calm down. If you go up now, something could happen to both of you. Wang Wei could only watch me helplessly. Sunan, move, move. But Jiang Xiu showed no sign of slowing down. The accelerator was floored. The engine noise reverberated through the night sky, heading straight towards me. I closed my eyes, couldn't see ahead, could only hear the roar of the car and Wang Wei's heart-wrenching screams. Anyway, I didn't have much time left. Dying at her hands wasn't a bad ending for me. Maybe she would let go because of this. The sound of the car got closer and closer. Everyone held their breath. But with a sharp screech of brakes tearing through the night, the car stopped right in front of me. I opened my eyes and looked forward. Jiang Xiu sat in the driver's seat, her eyes fixed on me. Wang Wei finally breathed a sigh of relief and quickly ran to my side. Sunan, are you okay? I didn't answer, just stared at the car in front of me and the person inside it. She only needed to go a little further, or miss by a little, and it would have been a different ending. Jiang Xiu sat in the car, her foot firmly on the brake. It took her a long time to calm down. She hadn't expected that I would really be willing to give up my life for this money. I just stood in front of the car, motionless, without the slightest fear. Our eyes met. It seemed neither of us understood the emotions hidden in the other's eyes. I once couldn't bear to see her shed a single tear. Now I'd made her into a cold person. But now that she was doing this, I didn't hate her at all. After all, many things she experienced were caused by me. After a moment, I shifted my gaze, and Jiang Xiu got out of the car and came to me. Have you ever regretted leaving back then? She stared at me intently, but I didn't dare to look her in the eyes. No, never regretted it. Hearing my words, the light in her eyes suddenly dimmed. I looked at her red-rimmed eyes, desperately trying to control my emotions from collapsing. Her voice was hoarse. She took out a card from her bag. Very well, I know the answer I wanted to know. This money, I can give it to you, but your life is mine from now on. She threw the card in front of me. The password is 6 sixes. There are 2 million in it. I'm giving you a week to settle things, and then cut all ties with her. She tossed the keys to assistantly and walked past me. From now on, your life and death are in my hands. If you can't break off the relationship with her, then don't even think about escaping me for the rest of your life. Jiang Xiu left after dropping those words. The card fell at my feet, looking light, but feeling unusually heavy. I squatted down and picked up the card from the ground, feeling completely drained. I hadn't rested for a full day and night, barely eaten anything, or even had much water. Added to everything that had just happened, I was completely out of energy, feeling like I was about to collapse at any moment. Wang Wei noticed my abnormality and immediately stepped forward to support me. Sunan, how are you? If you're not feeling well, you should go back to the hospital as soon as possible. I reached out and grabbed Wang Wei's hand, finally managing to stand a little steadier. Take me back to the hospital quickly. I need to send the money over now. Wang Wei shook his head. I'll take you back first. You should get a good night's sleep and then deal with this tomorrow. It's already evening, everyone's off work, and the emergency room doesn't handle ward matters. I couldn't argue with Wang Wei, so I had to listen to him and go back to the hospital to lie down again. After the doctor checked my condition, they gave me a shot, and in 4. Wang Wei went to buy me some food. After all that fuss, I finally fell asleep, feeling drowsy. No longer was it cold rain and a hard floor. On this soft bed, I quickly drifted into a dream. In my dream, I returned to the place where Jiang Xiu and I first met. Those memories came flooding back like a tide. It felt like she was really there, standing in front of me. She seemed even more radiant than before. her eyes looking even more determined. The vows we had made together, the places we had gone, the scenery we had seen, it all felt like I was experiencing it again. When the photographer was taking pictures of us, she leaned against me, smiling like a flower. Finally, after the photo shoot, she held the flowers in her hands and asked me, smiling, "Sunan, will you love me forever and ever? Love me with all of your life, as you love your own life, and be eternally loyal to me." But in the next second, before I could speak, she suddenly became ferocious. "No, you won't. You're a liar." After saying that, she took out a knife and stabbed it directly into my chest. The heart-wrenching pain overwhelmed me. I looked at her in disbelief. "Why?" She glared at me with a fierce gaze, saying each word carefully. "Because I hate you. I want you to die." The hatred in her eyes made me feel cold all over. But why did I also see her sadness and pain in her eyes? Everything around us plunged into darkness. We were both swallowed by the dark. Then, I suddenly woke up from the dream, my whole body soaked in sweat, gasping for breath. It turned out that everything was a dream. Nothing was real. Nothing had happened. The next day, I went to find my mother's attending doctor and paid the money in. "Doctor, please arrange the treatment plan as soon as possible. I have enough money ready." The doctor quickly agreed. "We will arrange it immediately, but you need to comfort the patient's emotional state more." I breathed a sigh of relief and got up to go to my mother's ward. Seeing me, my mother was shocked. "Xiaonan, how did you become so thin?" "Maybe because of the stomach problem. I haven't been resting well lately, and I look much haggard." I hurriedly explained. "It's okay, Mom, I just played a game last night and stayed up too late." My mother breathed a sigh of relief and scolded. You're so old. Your health is important." I nodded. "I know, Mom. I won't do it again next time." My mother's emotions finally stabilized. After I explained a few things to the caregiver, I returned to my own ward. Zhang Xiyu told me to take a week to break contact with my mother, but I couldn't bear not to see her. I called Zhang Xiyu, and she was a little surprised when she answered my call. "What's the matter? Did you handle it so quickly?" "No, it's something else." Hearing me say it was something else, Zhang Xiyu was a little annoyed. "Then tell me quickly." I paused. "I'm really grateful that you could lend me money, but I can't break off my relationship with her." Zhang Xiyu was immediately furious upon hearing this. "Huh, you take the money and then go back on your word. That's so like you. It's not what you think. This money is for my mother's treatment. You should know about my family situation. My mother is sick now. I can't leave." Even though I explained, Zhang Xiyu still said, "Sunan, are you even a man? You really racked your brains to cheat money. You can even make up the story of your mother being sick. Do you think I'll still believe you?" Zhang Xiyu didn't listen to my explanation at all and directly gave me an ultimatum. "I'll give you 1 day. You must come back tomorrow. If I don't see you tomorrow, you know the consequences." Without waiting for me to continue speaking, Zhang Xiyu hung up the phone. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Xiyu sat there angrily for a long time, and then called assistantly. "Go check up on Sunan, or find an excuse to ask him where he is now. See if the woman they're talking about is really his mother." I was a little surprised to receive a call from assistantly. "Send me your address. I need to talk to you about something." Assistantly didn't say what exactly, just said there was something he needed to talk to me about, so I told him my address. But assistantly didn't come to find me. Instead, he asked people at the hospital through connections and found my mother's ward. After observing for a while and confirming our relationship, he called Zhang Xiyu. "Miss, what Sunan said was true. His mother is indeed in the hospital. I think he really needs that money urgently, so he approached you." Before Assistant Li could finish speaking, Zhang Xiyu hung up the phone. At that moment, Zhang Xiyu didn't speak for a long time. Had she really misunderstood him? But even if that was the case, it was someone else's illness, not her fault. The grudges between them would not disappear and could not disappear. My kindness and charity towards others were, in her eyes, for others, and had nothing to do with her. Her heart began to feel anxious, conflicted, contradictory, and even angry. I can be kind to anyone. Why am I so cruel to her? Just when she was angry, the door of the office suddenly opened. Su Jincheng walked straight in, carrying a lunchbox. Noticing that Zhang Xiyu's mood was off, he asked, puzzled, "What's wrong? You look a little unhappy. Is there something tricky at work?" Zhang Xiyu shook her head. "It is indeed a bit tricky. You know, competition in the company is fierce." Seeing this, Su Jincheng moved closer to Zhang Xiyu, reaching out to massage her. "Don't get too tired. Let me rub your shoulders or massage your temples." For some reason, seeing Su Jincheng approach her, Zhang Xiyu suddenly felt a bit resistant. "No need, I'm fine. You're tired too. Sit down for a while." Seeing that Zhang Xiyu rejected him, Su Jincheng had no choice but to withdraw his hand. Ever since Su Nan appeared, he felt that Jiang Shiyu spent less and less time with him. Su Jincheng felt fear in his heart, unsure of Jiang Shiyu's feelings for him. Shiyu, why don't we move the engagement banquet forward? I looked at the calendar, and there are actually a few good days. Jiang Shiyu was a little surprised. The invitations have already been sent out. Why move it forward? Su Jincheng felt a little guilty. It's nothing. I'm just afraid there will be a lot of things at work next, and it'll be too rushed then. But isn't your father in charge of the company? It shouldn't be affected then. Seeing that Jiang Shiyu didn't agree, Su Jincheng became even more anxious. Getting things done sooner will save us some worries, right? Jiang Shiyu frowned. You seem very strange today. What exactly happened? Su Jincheng gave a dry laugh. It's just because I want to be with you sooner. As he said this, Su Jincheng's eyes burned intensely, making Jiang Shiyu feel uncomfortable. There's no need to rush such things. Su Jincheng couldn't push too hard, so he nodded. Okay, I'll listen to you. After that, the two discussed the engagement banquet arrangements and some other things. Suddenly, Su Jincheng said, the people coming are all those on the list. There are no others, right? No, wasn't this list already confirmed before? Seeing that Su Nan's name was not on the list, Su Jincheng finally relaxed. He tentatively opened his mouth again. How about we find some time to take the wedding photos first? After all, the engagement is just a formality. Taking wedding photos is something we'll have to do sooner or later for the wedding anyway. In Su Jincheng's mind, as long as he could complete the process quickly, he could handle any changes that might happen later. However, Jiang Shiyu felt that Su Jincheng's sudden proposal was too fast. It seemed like she wasn't ready. In fact, she wasn't clear about her feelings for Su Jincheng. Every time she discussed marriage with him, she didn't feel that surge of excitement or happiness. There was no anticipation or longing. Choosing Su Jincheng was more because he appeared at a time when she needed him. At that time, she was at a low point in her life and needed someone's comfort. Su Jincheng appeared then. So, was it out of gratitude? Was it out of being moved? Or was it really because of love between them? She couldn't figure it out herself. Some acquaintances told her that this might be pre-wedding jitters, but her heart didn't seem to agree. Now that Su Jincheng was changing his mind and wanted to get so many things done ahead of time, it made her even more uneasy. I don't want to take wedding photos so soon. As soon as Jiang Shiyu said this, Su Jincheng was stunned. Had she changed her mind? Are you feeling tense again because of what I said earlier? I'm sorry. I heard before that many people might have pre-wedding jitters. I didn't take your feelings into account. No. Jiang Shiyu interrupted him. It's not like that. It's just that I might not have time. After all, there are so many things to prepare, and it's all so concentrated. I feel a bit of pressure. The original plan was rejected, and although helpless, Su Jincheng could only nod. Okay, then let's go according to the original plan. Don't think too much. Jiang Shiyu looked a bit tired. Su Jincheng stood beside her, gently taking her hand. If you feel tired, exhausted, or unhappy, I will always be your support. Su Jincheng gave Jiang Shiyu a warm smile. It was this smile and these words that gave him the opportunity. But this opportunity seemed to have become extremely fleeting after Su Nan returned. Yeah, thank you for always being with me. Su Jincheng turned Jiang Shiyu's head and leaned her gently against his shoulder. But his heart was no longer calm. Originally, as long as he was by Jiang Shiyu's side, others would have no chance. But Su Nan had to appear by Jiang Shiyu's side again, even as her driver. This made Su Jincheng feel a sense of crisis. Even though Su Nan said he wouldn't do anything extra, he had no confidence in himself. Why are you being so polite with me? Your happiness is my happiness. Over the years, Jiang Shiyu had been resisting other actions. Su Jincheng didn't force it, so their relationship consisted of eating together, chatting, taking walks, and occasionally holding hands. There were no kisses, let alone anything else. In order to maintain his image, Su Jincheng tried to restrain himself. He would never do anything that Jiang Shiyu didn't want. But now he seemed to understand something. All these years, she had perhaps never forgotten Su Nan, which was why she was resisting him. Seeing that Su Jincheng wasn't talking, Jiang Shiyu's heart was also a little conflicted. It had always been Su Jincheng accommodating her, so should she give something in return? But she didn't seem to be able to cross that barrier in her heart. How about, I go look at wedding dresses the day after tomorrow? Jiang Shiyu finally agreed, but Su Jincheng had to go on a business trip the day after tomorrow. Can we do it another day? I have to go on a business trip the day after tomorrow. It was previously arranged. Jiang Shiyu thought for a moment. It's okay, I'll go look at mine first, and then we can go together when you get back. Okay, that's good too. Then, Let Jiangxi accompany you the day after tomorrow. Okay. After arranging my mother's affairs in the hospital, I returned to Jiangxi's company and continued to be her driver. The day I went back, assistantly told me the itinerary. Today, Miss will be trying on wedding dresses. You wait at the entrance later, don't go anywhere else. When I saw the words wedding dress, my heart was suddenly stabbed. Okay, I'll wait at the entrance. Soon, Jiang Xiyu came out of the company and got into the car, her voice still cold. Go to Pingjing Road, pick someone up first, then go to the bridal shop. Okay. Following her instructions, I first picked up Jiangxi. Jiangxi was an old friend of ours, and she knew some things about us. As soon as she got into the car, she started chattering. Xiyu, are you really sure you want to marry Su Jincheng? I don't think you look very happy. Could it be that you still have Su Nan in your heart? As soon as Jiangxi said this, I saw Jiangxi's face darken in the rearview mirror. Is a person who has died in my heart worth it? Jiangxi puffed up her cheeks and waved her fist. Definitely not worth it. He's a heartless jerk, a scumbag. If I saw him, I would definitely go up and kick him twice to vent your anger for you. It's a pity. There's no news of him anymore. I wonder where he's hiding. All the way it was Jiangxi's voice. Jiangxi didn't speak, just kept looking out the window. Until we got out of the car, I helped them open the door. Jiangxi looked up and met my eyes, surprised for a long time, and couldn't close her mouth. You, Su Nan, you. Why are you here? Just now. Jiangxi glanced at her. Let's go. What you saw was just a soulless person. There's nothing worth talking about. I looked at the bridal shop. God was so cruel. Did I have to watch the person I loved so deeply put on a wedding dress for someone else? I originally wanted to wait in the car outside, but Jiangxi told me to come in. Come in and help carry things. The two of them threw their bags to me, then went inside together. Inside the bridal shop, it was all high-end custom wedding dresses. Each one was beautiful. Looking at the exquisite wedding dresses, I couldn't help but lose myself. We had once dreamed of walking into the hall of marriage. We had also planned our wedding and even thought of names for our children. Countless times when we passed bridal shops, she would stop to look. She would point to one of them excitedly and ask me, if I wear this one in the future, will I be the most beautiful bride? I would ruffle her hair. Of course you are the most beautiful bride. I will definitely make you the happiest person then. At that time, we hadn't graduated from college yet. We were looking forward to every day in the future, planning for happiness to come. But in the end, fate played tricks. We still broke up. Not only did I not marry the girl I loved the most, but I had to watch her marry someone else. Just when I was engrossed in looking, Jiangxi suddenly spoke. Hey, Su Nan, come over and pour us some water. I poured tea and water for them, then sat aside waiting for them to try on wedding dresses. Jiangxi came out wearing a different wedding dress and asked Jiangxi for her opinion. Jiangxi immediately called me over. Su Nan, quickly grab my bag for me. I want to take some pictures. When I went over to them, I was stunned by what I saw. The person standing in front of me was like a celestial being, just like we had imagined many years ago. She was standing in front of me in a pure, white wedding dress. I just didn't expect that I would indeed see Jiangxi wearing a wedding dress, but she was wearing it for someone else. I tried hard to control my expression and looked away, afraid that Jiangxi would notice. Miss Jiang, here is your bag. I handed the bag to Jiangxi and prepared to leave. Seeing that I was acting strangely, Jiangxi seemed to sense something and immediately pulled me back as I was about to escape. Wait a minute. Why are you running so fast? I turned to look at Jiangxi. Miss Jiang, is there anything else? Jiangxi suddenly thought of something and smiled sarcastically. I'm asking you, do you think our Xiyu looks beautiful in her wedding dress? Hearing this, Jiangxi suddenly stopped adjusting her clothes and looked up at me. I didn't expect that she would ask this question. It was obviously deliberate. Without looking, I said directly, well, President Jiang must look good. Jiangxi was not satisfied with my answer and said with a dark face, did you look? You said she looked good without even looking. Aren't you being a bit too perfunctory? Jiangxi, your subordinate is a bit unprofessional. They should have their salary deducted. They can't even bother to be perfunctory. Jiangxi stood to the side, her face dark the whole time. She didn't expect I wouldn't even glance at her. Is that so? Then deduct 5,000 yuan. Anyway, the salary we give him is enough. Besides, President Jiang looks good in anything. She must be the most beautiful bride in a wedding dress. Jiangxi laughed heartily after hearing this, satisfied. Su Nan, is your mouth so sweet? Back then you were such a quiet person. When we told you to confess your feelings to Xiyu, Xiyu was the one who spoke first. Now, for money, you can blurt out such flattering words? I smiled awkwardly. Miss Jiang is joking. People will even bend for 5 pecks of rice. Not to mention this is money. As long as the money is right, I can say more nice things. Upon hearing this, Jiang Shiyu's expression became even more unpleasant. She didn't expect that even my praise was so fake. She immediately scolded in a low voice. You can get lost if you have nothing else to do. I immediately took my bag and left. Jiang Shiyu tried on many dresses and picked for a long time without finding one she liked. But in my heart, she looked good in anything. But the thought of her marrying Su Jinsheng made my heart unsettled for a long time. Can such a malicious person really bring her happiness? Can he really treat her well? But what about me? What can I give her? I can't even afford a decent ring. Am I going to rely on saying those useless sweet nothings? When I was young, I was so naive and full of expectations. But after experiencing all that, I understand. The most basic thing in life is to be born and to survive. I can't give her anything better. There is no way to atone for my sins, and I don't even have the time. Just at this moment, my stomach suddenly started to hurt inopportunely. The pain of colic was really unbearable. I had to take out a pill and prepare to take it. Just as I put it in my mouth, ready to drink water, I looked up and found Jiang Shiyu standing right in front of me. Her gaze was icy. What are you eating? I hurriedly swallowed the medicine and finished the water in my hand. I have a bit of a cold, it's cold medicine. You know, I got caught in the rain that day. And I came to work early, as you instructed, even though I wasn't better. Even though she heard I was sick because of the rain, Jiang Shiyu was unmoved. You're not allowed to be absent unless you're dead. Even if your legs are broken, you have to crawl over here. Now, every time I hear that word, I can't help but feel a thump in my heart. Before, I felt it was very far away, but now I feel like it's right beside me. Like a shadow, I don't know when I will leave this world. Okay, I understand. If I don't die, I'll hold on until the very end. Jiang Shiyu stared at me coldly. After a long while, she finally spoke. Come here and help me take a look. Jiang Shiyu went out to make a call. I followed her obediently. Jiang Shiyu went in to change into a wedding dress and soon came out. After the staff helped her arrange it, she dismissed them. Then she suddenly looked at me. You come here? I walked over and stood next to her. Come here. Stand next to me. Her tone was commanding, so I had no choice but to go and slowly approach her as she instructed. She only stopped when we could see both of us standing together in the mirror. Look up, look in the mirror. I raised my eyes and looked in the mirror. She was very beautiful in the mirror, as if she was emitting light all over her body, ethereal and otherworldly. Standing next to her, wearing a black suit, for a moment I even had an illusion. It seemed like I had returned to the time when we went to try on wedding dresses, her excitedly holding my hand, pacing back and forth in front of the mirror. Let's get married after graduation, okay? Okay. But soon Jiang Shiyu's words shattered my fantasy, pulling me out of the memory. What are you thinking about? Jiang Shiyu's words suddenly pulled me out of the memory. I shifted my gaze in a panic. Nothing. Are you thinking about why the person marrying me isn't you? As soon as Jiang Shiyu said that, I immediately felt a little embarrassed. My thoughts had been completely guessed by her. I hurriedly made an excuse. No, you were the one who told me to look ahead just now. Upon hearing that, Jiang Shiyu's face immediately darkened. Not getting the answer she wanted from me, she was somewhat disappointed. Seeing this familiar scene, did I not feel even a little moved? Those times we went through together, those experiences we shared, did I not remember any of it? Or was it that I simply didn't want to remember? Jiang Shiyu stared intently at the person in front of her. Her heart was very sad, conflicted, and even aching. Do you really not remember? I knew what she was talking about, but I couldn't admit it, even though my own heart was in pain too. The person in front of me was the one I loved deeply, loved to the bone. How could I forget? But even if I remembered, so what? I couldn't go back to the past, nor could I pretend that those hurts had never happened. I forced out a smile. What are you talking about? I really don't seem to remember. After all, that's all in the past. Who remembers so clearly? Seeing my smile, Jiang Shiyu slapped me directly across the face. You don't remember, right? Then maybe this slap will make you remember. Her gaze was fierce and filled with disappointment. She couldn't accept why I had become like this today. Jiang Shiyu couldn't understand. Even more so, she couldn't tolerate it. It turned out that the one who had been unable to move on was just herself, while I had long forgotten everything. This slap was very sudden, catching me completely off guard. I knew she was angry and furious, but I couldn't react at all. Instead, I looked at her again with a smile. Remember what? I really don't remember anything. How could I not remember? That day we went to look at wedding dresses. Because I was late, she was harassed by some thugs and I finally arrived, got into a fight with them, and ended up with a swollen face. Although we did eventually go, I went with a swollen face. She tenderly touched my face and asked, "Does it hurt?" I smiled and shook my head. "It doesn't hurt. How could it hurt? Every day with you is sweet." But a small scar remained on my face, and every time she saw it, it would break her heart. Now, seeing it again, all she felt was overflowing anger. "Forgot. Can't remember, right? Fine, very good." Jiang Xiu turned around and was about to leave, but accidentally tripped over a stool beside her. I rushed over instinctively, immediately reaching out to hold her waist and hug her. Jiang Xiu turned her head, and our eyes met. She was leaning in my arms, staring intently at me. Neither of us had expected such a scene to happen. It seemed like a strangely familiar moment. We were both a little surprised, even a little embarrassed by the atmosphere. She tried to search for something in my eyes, and I quickly looked away. Suddenly, Jiang Shi came in from outside, loudly calling for Jiang Xiu, and I quickly let go. She slipped out of my hands and fell heavily to the ground. Jiang Xiu didn't expect me to let go of her, and she looked at me angrily. Jiang Shi came over and pushed me away. "Soon in, what are you doing?" Xiu fell. "And you didn't even help her up?" "I was about to help her, but I lost my balance just now, that's why." Jiang Shi waved his hand impatiently. All right, I get it. You can go outside now." I immediately took off and went to the car outside. I was flustered, unable to calm down for a long time. But just then, Su Jincheng appeared. He was a bit surprised when he saw me, and instead of going in, he came to my side. "Sunan, you really haven't given up? Are you really planning to stay by Xiu's side?" I glanced at him and chuckled. "What's wrong? You seem very afraid." "I'm just her driver. Why do you keep coming to warn me?" Su Jincheng's expression immediately changed. He was, of course, afraid. "Sunan, if you don't have any other motives, where can't you find a job? Why do you have to work here? What you did to Xiu, if you weren't so persistent, how could she accept you by her side? You're just relying on that past affection, you." I chuckled and interrupted him. "You're wrong. I was hired for this job by Xiu herself. If you have the ability to get me out of here, I'd really thank you." Su Jincheng was somewhat surprised upon hearing this. He didn't know what had happened between us. But what was certain was that Jiang Xiu had accepted me in whatever work I did for her. So, Su Jincheng wanted to get me away from Jiang Xiu, which was exactly what I wanted. He looked at me suspiciously. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure, it's just a bit difficult because I owe her 2 million. Otherwise, if you help me pay off the 2 million debt, I can leave." Su Jincheng's expression changed upon hearing this. "How did you end up owing her so much money?" But then he seemed to understand what was going on. "Last time, I went home to ask Su Jianghai for money, but Su Jianghai didn't give it, so I turned to Jiang Xiu. However, Jiang Xiu did lend me the money, but kept me by her side working to repay the debt. But this was 2 million, not a small amount, although he could afford it. But he was reluctant. This made him very conflicted. If he didn't help, I would continue to stay by Su Yan's side. If he helped, his heart would ache. Why should he help me pay back 2 million? Just as Su Jincheng hesitated, Jiang Xiu walked out of the shop and saw Su Jincheng. "Jincheng, you're here." Su Jincheng immediately stepped forward and took her hand. Jiang Xiu, uncharacteristically, didn't resist. Instead, she directly held Su Jincheng's hand back. "Did you come to pick me up?" "Yes. I rushed back temporarily today. I heard you were here. Then let's go back. You take my car, we'll go have dinner together." "Okay. Then I'll have the driver drive back first." Then the two of them got into the car. I was driving, and the two of them were sitting in the back. I could see from the rearview mirror that Jiang Xiu was leaning against Su Jincheng's side, and the two of them were chatting. They were talking about the wedding dress just now, and Jiang Xiu even took out the photos she had just taken, and the two of them admired and commented on them together. And I could only glimpse this happiness from the rearview mirror. Just then, I suddenly noticed that Jiang Xiu was also looking at me, and in the moment our eyes met, Jiang Xiu revealed a cold smile. "Jincheng, if we get married, your family should all come, right?" "Yes, they should all come. But I didn't see a certain someone on the list. Should we invite him?" Su Jincheng's expression turned cold, and then he looked up at me. "Who are you talking about? It can't be my eldest brother, right?" Jiang Xiu's expression was calm. "He should also be considered part of your family, right?" "Yes, but he's already left the house on his own, and you also know about his affairs. If he goes, it will be a gathering of people with status and reputation. I'm afraid it will make us lose face." He belittled me like this, not caring at all that I was listening in the front. Jiang Xiu sneered, and then shifted her gaze to me. "It's not us who did wrong. It's a certain someone who will lose face." Su Jincheng paused for a moment before nodding. "Okay, whatever Xiu says." Originally, Su Jincheng didn't want me to show up, but unexpectedly, Jiang Xiu actually asked me to go voluntarily. And it seems they want to make me look bad later. If that's really the case, then it shows that Jiang Xiu truly hates me to the extreme. Thinking of this, A strange sense of joy inexplicably arose in Su Jincheng's heart. She, we talked about going to the villa last time. Why don't we go today? Anyway, there's nothing to do tomorrow. Jiang Xiyu didn't refuse. Okay, it just so happens that we finished early today, so let's go. She instructed me. Turn around and go to Dushing Villa. I just hummed a simple acknowledgement, focusing on driving the whole way, not caring what they were talking about in the back. It was none of my concern. Those sweet words, those intimate things, seemed to be said specifically for me to hear. I've driven Jiang Xiyu so many times, and she has always been serious and unsmiling, with a cold attitude towards everyone. Thinking of this, I suddenly felt like I was just being sentimental. Maybe they really are in love. By the time we got to the top of the mountain, it was already dark, and only 2 rooms were left at the villa. I'm sorry, there are only 2 rooms left now. It might not be enough for the 3 of you. Jiang Xiyu was a bit confused. Didn't you say you reserved 3 rooms before? I'm sorry, there was a false alarm from a smoke detector in one room, and the room is now filled with water. How could it be such a coincidence? The reserved room had a problem. I glanced at Su Jincheng. I was very clear about this person's intentions. If that's the case, you guys can have the rooms. I can sleep in the car. The hotel staff frowned at me, then looked at Jiang Xiyu and Su Jincheng. You two seem to be a couple. You should be able to sleep in one room, right? That way, the rooms would be just right, and you wouldn't have to sleep in the car. I immediately understood that this staff member had definitely been bought off. We'll handle how we're arranged ourselves. You should respect the customers. I glared at him. Jiang Xiyu had been silent all along, and Su Jincheng hesitated before finally speaking. It's not comfortable in the car. Why don't I share a room with Xiyu? I feel a little uneasy letting Big Brother sleep in the car. I scoffed. Then why don't you go sleep in the car? Su Jincheng's face turned ugly, but he still forced a calm demeanor. If Big Brother insists, it's not impossible for me, as the younger brother, to go sleep in the car. What a good actor. But as soon as he finished speaking, Jiang Xiyu frowned. Don't forget your place. You're just a driver. I shrugged my shoulders. Okay, then I'll go sleep in the car. Su Jincheng's face turned terrifyingly dark. His original plan was to take advantage of this opportunity to solidify his relationship with Jiang Xiyu. That way, there would be no more worries. But my actions had directly disrupted his plan. But in front of Jiang Xiyu, he couldn't show it, so he could only force a smile and nod. Then, I'll have to trouble Big Brother. The 2 of them went upstairs side by side. Just as I was about to leave, the hotel manager arrived. Have that empty room over there cleaned up. Hearing that there was a vacant room, I didn't want to suffer in the car, so I paid for it on the spot and booked it. That staff member wanted to say something, but due to the manager's presence, he had to shut his mouth. After taking a shower and lying on the soft bed, I received another call from the hospital. The general idea was that my time was running out and I needed to schedule surgery as soon as possible. I vaguely agreed a few times and hung up the phone. How could I not know that my days were numbered? The daily stomach cramps, the faint coughing up of bright red blood. All of them were reminding me that my time was running out. But what else could I do? I don't know how long it had been, but I fell asleep. Vaguely, I heard my phone ringing. I reached for it and answered. I heard a rushed voice from the other end. Hello, is this Mr. Su? I drowsily replied. Yes, what's wrong? Hello, a woman just had a rear-end collision here. I saw your recent call on her phone. Could you come to the scene? I woke up instantly. The only person I had contacted recently was Jiang Xiyu. Where? I'm on my way. After hearing the other person's description, my heart immediately leaped. I quickly recounted my description of Jiang Xiyu to them. See if it's this person I'm talking about? The other person was slightly stunned after hearing me, surprised that my description of the person was so accurate. Yes, it's the person you described. So you better come over here quickly. Having received confirmation, I was certain it was Jiang Xiyu. Wasn't she sleeping at the villa? When did she go out? Why didn't she call me? Where's Su Jincheng? Where is Su Jincheng? And from the sounds coming through the phone, it sounded like a chaotic scene. It must be quite a serious accident. Is it very serious? Yes, it is indeed very serious. I spoke urgently as I got up. Then quickly call 120. Why are you calling me? Save the person first. If it was a serious rear-end collision, then the situation must be very critical. They must save the person first and then notify the family. They're already taking care of it, but you should still come to the scene. Shouldn't they save the person first? Why do they need me to go first? Anxiously, I quickly put on my shoes and went downstairs, urging them on the phone. What are you waiting for me for? Save people. That's the priority. Don't you guys understand that saving people comes first? Save the person first. I'm on my way. The other person glanced at the chaotic scene and continued. The ambulance has already arrived, but Miss Jiang won't go. What do you mean? Their words immediately made me a little confused. It's been said it's serious. Why aren't they taking her straight to the hospital in the ambulance? What are you still delaying for? The other person paused for a moment after hearing me, then explained, Miss Zhang's condition is indeed a bit serious. She's afraid she won't have time to say something. She just wants to see you now. You better not ask anymore. Just come right away. Hearing their words, my heart clenched suddenly. According to them, Jiang Shiyu's situation is very serious, and I dared not think further, unable to imagine what kind of state she was in, nor did I dare think about what would happen next. I didn't have time to ask anything else. I immediately said, Give me the address. I'll be there right away. Tell her I'm on my way. She should listen to the doctors and get treatment first. Don't push it and refuse to listen. From the moment I heard the news, my heart had long been unable to stay calm. Why did something like this have to happen to her? She had already experienced so much. Why couldn't she just encounter something good? Knowing that I was preparing to go there immediately, the other person said, Okay, then you come quickly. We will do our best to rescue her. I left the villa, hailed a taxi, and told the driver the destination. Somehow, I suddenly felt a breath stuck in my chest and couldn't come up no matter what. Remembering how serious the situation was that the person had described, I became so nervous that my whole body trembled. I wished I could teleport to her side right now. Suddenly, I felt very afraid that I wouldn't see her, afraid that I wouldn't have a chance to say sorry, that she wouldn't be able to hear me. We still had so many things left unsaid, so many regrets left unresolved. My heart was filled with immense sorrow and pain. It was so unbearable that in an instant my eyes welled up with tears. I realized that what's more terrifying than death is watching the person you love most leave you and being completely powerless to do anything about it. We always assume that there's plenty of time for everything, but in the end we discover that many things in the long river of time eventually become regrets. When you really want to speak, when you really want to act, you find that it seems too late. Right now, I just want to be by her side immediately to tell her that I have always loved her, to tell her that in my heart, I've always loved her, even if she hates me, even if she hurt me, I've never given up. Because I love her, I can do anything for her, and I can forgive her for anything she did, whatever her reasons might have been. Although these words seem so late, so very late, they're the only thing I want to say to her. I stared out the window at the passing scenery. Could I really make it in time? Or rather, do we still have a chance? Even if she is okay this time, for me, to say I love her again would no longer be easy. I only hope that she can be happy. Now, I can only pray that she will be all right. I dare not hope for anything more. For the first time, I felt that time was moving so slowly. A minute felt like a year, and it seemed that the car would never arrive at our destination. When I rushed to the accident site, I saw several cars crash together. Some of their front ends were crushed. It was a really serious scene. There were many people around participating in the rescue, and also onlookers. The scene was completely chaotic. Looking at the horrific scene, my heart tightened once again. I pushed through the crowd, looking for Jiang Shiyu. Jiang Shiyu, Jiang Shiyu. The scene was a mess. All kinds of noises blended together. No one paid attention to me, and no one told me where she was. I took out my phone to call her, but she wouldn't pick up, even at this moment. No matter how many times I called, she wouldn't answer. I was so anxious I almost threw my phone away. I had no other choice but to look everywhere for Jiang Shiyu. Every time I saw someone, I'd grab them and ask, Excuse me, is there an injured person named Jiang Shiyu? Still no one would tell me. The more I couldn't find her, the more desperate and bewildered I became. The more anxious I was, the more chaotic everything felt. I was still wearing my hospital gown and pushing through the crowd, desperately trying to find Jiang Shiyu, until I saw the ambulance parked behind the crowd. An ambulance was parked on the side of the road, and a nurse was busy with an emergency rescue. Though I couldn't see who was on the bed, my intuition told me that it was Jiang Shiyu. Without caring about the people in front of me, I rudely pushed them aside, stumbling towards the ambulance. I broke through the crowd and ran. Everyone was very busy and anxious. Even though I had pushed them aside roughly, no one seemed to mind. Perhaps seeing my distraught appearance, they could understand. In this accident scene, everyone looked like this. I went through the crowd, and just as I reached the ambulance, a nurse stopped me. What are you doing? You can't go over there right now. We are rescuing a patient. I quickly explained, pointing at the person on the bed. I'm the patient's family. I want to see her. The nurse blocked my view of the person's face. I couldn't see how she was. I could only see the blood everywhere on the bed, a shocking sight. With so much blood, my heart clenched once again. Nurse, let me through. I need to be with her. I couldn't believe how frightened she must be right now. In this chaotic scene, how much pain she must be in. The nurse stopped me again. The patient is being rescued. You can't go over there right now. Your presence will just waste our time. There was no way. I could only stand outside the makeshift shed they had built and wait. Squatting in the corner, I was so cold that I wrapped myself tightly, praying that things would develop in a good direction. Time seemed to pass very slowly. So slowly it was driving me crazy. I watched the people coming and going, all in a rush. Some were sobbing. Some were crying tears of joy at having survived, and some were wailing with regret. Everyone busy immersing themselves in their own roles. As I watched these scenes, my heart was shaken again and again. It turned out that in the face of life and death, everything was fleeting. I thought I was an observer, but in fact, I was already deep in the situation. Seeing that the scene outside was almost cleared up, but there was no movement inside, I anxiously grabbed a nurse coming out and asked, "Nurse, how are the people inside?" The nurse opened her mouth, then shook her head regretfully. "I'm sorry, we did our best." Hearing the nurse's words, my legs suddenly felt weak, and I stumbled, grabbing the person next to me to steady myself. How could this be? I haven't even talked to her yet. We have so many things we haven't had time to explain. This is impossible. Impossible. I grabbed the nurse, shaking my head repeatedly. Impossible. This is impossible. If the situation is bad, send her to the hospital immediately. Please send her to be rescued. There must still be hope. She can definitely be saved. You can't just give up like this. But no matter what I said, the nurse didn't move, just sighed and shook her head. We really did our best. Her words seemed to pronounce the sentence again, and I felt like I had been struck by lightning, my body trembling again. A huge wave of sadness surged up, and instantly my eyes turned red. How is that possible? You must be lying to me. How could she leave without even seeing me one last time? I grabbed the nurse forcefully, passionately objecting. No, it's absolutely impossible. You must have made a mistake. I want to go in and see for myself. The nurse was hurt by my grip and could only forcefully shake me off, but she didn't dare say anything more to agitate me now. I pulled open the door and rushed in. The doctors inside were already packing up. Scattered instruments were in the tent, and in the middle was a bed, already covered with a white sheet. Seeing me appear, everyone seemed to look at each other, then tacitly took their things and left. I looked at the person on the bed, but I didn't have the courage to lift the white sheet. It wasn't that I was afraid to see her current state, nor was it from an inner fear, but I couldn't accept that the person lying there was her. I just looked at the person on the bed, my legs feeling as heavy as if they were filled with lead. Finally, I walked over. I thought I would cry and yell. I also thought I would beat the ground and wail, or even throw myself on the bed and cry my heart out. But I didn't do any of that. I just watched quietly, my heart feeling blocked and painful, unable to say a single word. I slowly walked to the bedside, and after a long while, I finally spoke. "Why did you have to leave before me? We agreed that I would go first. Don't you know that the one left behind is the one who suffers the most? When we were dating, she said that if there was ever a day when one of us had to leave this world first, she hoped it would be me." I teased her and said she was silly. "No one says things like that. I don't agree. I want to live a few more years. Besides, if I leave first, who will take care of you? When you're an old lady, I'll be the only one to keep you company." But she just smiled and didn't say anything. Later, I read in a book that it meant that the person who lives on has to bear the pain of losing the other person alone. So, the person who loves you the most will definitely choose to leave after you. Looking at her on the bed, my voice was hoarse. "We agreed that you would let me go first, you liar. Get up and explain yourself." The person on the bed didn't respond to me. Quietly, as if asleep, unable to respond to me anymore. When my emotions spiraled out of control again, my voice was already hoarse, the tone indiscernible. "Didn't you say you wanted to know the truth? Why did you leave impatiently before I could even speak?" I finally couldn't hold it back anymore. A sour ache, a great sadness piercing me through. My chest was tight and uncomfortable. Tears followed, also out of control, until finally I could no longer bear it and knelt on the ground, crying out loud. "Didn't you say you hated me? That you were going to take cruel revenge on me? Get up and take revenge. Is this all you've got? You haven't made me wish I was dead, and you've already run away. I still have so much I want to say to you, so many things I haven't told you. Get up. If you can get up, I'll tell you everything. I'll tell you everything you want to know, all of it, all of the truth." I had imagined countless ways we might face each other in life and death, but I had never imagined it would be like this. I was the one who should have died a long time ago, but now it's someone else. This cruel separation made it so painful I couldn't breathe, a piercing, excruciating pain. Just as I was trembling and about to reach out to look at the person on the bed, before I could even touch them. Suddenly, 2 or 3 people rushed in from outside. They pushed me aside, blocked me, and then threw themselves on the bed, beginning to cry loudly. This sudden and unexpected situation left me stunned. Who were they? I went up to pull them away, but they blocked me firmly, and I had no choice but to angrily ask, "Who are you? Have you got the wrong person? The person lying there isn't your family member." Who knew they would reply, "You're the one who's wrong. This is our family member lying here. Look if you don't believe it." The person lifted a corner of the white cloth, and lying there was someone I didn't know. My expression immediately tightened. Could it be that I just cried for so long, crying over the wrong person? I was a little bewildered, followed by great joy. It was also at this time that I received a call from Assistant Lee. "Sunan, where are you? Come to the hospital quickly. President Jiang is hemorrhaging badly, and she has a lot she wants to say to you." The heart I had just set down clenched again. After finding out the address, I quickly took a taxi to the hospital. Jiang Shiyu was still in the emergency room. Through the window, I saw Jiang Shiyu. Her head was covered in blood, her hair disheveled, her face stained with blood. Her clothes were also torn, and a blanket covered most of her body. Seeing her like this, my heart was instantly filled with sadness and an overwhelming feeling of heartache. At this moment, it felt like I had forgiven her for everything she had done before. I sat outside the door, waiting silently, until 15 hours later, the light in the operating room finally went out. Jiang Shiyu was pushed out. I quickly went to meet her, but was stopped by the nurse. "The patient is still in a coma. Please try not to disturb her." Although I was anxious, I could only nod. "Doctor, how is she?" My mood was very complicated at this moment. I wanted to know the answer, yet also didn't want to. Fortunately, the doctor's words gave me a long sigh of relief. "The patient is out of danger. She will still need to be observed for a few more days." After my tense nerves relaxed, I began to realize something was wrong. Jiang Shiyu was clearly with Su Jincheng. How could she have suddenly run out and suffered such a serious car accident? She hadn't been drinking or anything at night. What exactly happened? These doubts filled my mind with an ominous premonition. After saying goodbye to Assistant Lee, I returned to the villa alone and found the lobby manager, requesting to retrieve the surveillance footage from the corridor. But the manager told me with a look of difficulty that the surveillance equipment had malfunctioned, and all the surveillance footage from that night had disappeared. I immediately realized that someone was playing tricks. But I was alone and powerless, so I had no choice but to give up. 5 days later, while I was busy taking care of my mother, I received a call from Assistant Lee. "President Jiang has woken up." I rushed there immediately. Jiang Shiyu lay on the hospital bed. When she saw me appear, her eyes seemed to be filled with tears. She wanted to speak, but ultimately couldn't say anything. Her hand lifted slightly, but finally dropped down weakly. Her dry mouth opened, seeming to call my name, but the sound was so faint I couldn't hear it. I immediately grasped her hand. I'm here. What do you want to say?" Jiang Shiyu looked at me weakly. She opened her mouth again with effort. I quickly leaned my ear closer, wanting to hear clearly what she was saying. As I got close, she asked softly, haltingly, "The truth? What exactly is it?" As she spoke, she gripped my hand a bit harder. I could feel how much she wanted to know the truth she had schemed so hard to discover. After hearing her words, I pulled back and looked at her. "Do you really want to know the truth?" Her eyes seemed to fill with tears, and she nodded her head with difficulty, her mouth forming a soundless yes. I remained silent for a while before looking at her again. "Actually, there's no so-called truth. It's all something I made up myself. If you want to talk about the truth, then it's that when I left back then, it wasn't just because your family went bankrupt. It was also because I was kicked out of the Su family. After they finished using me, they thought I wasn't of much use and threw me out. I would rather die than talk about such humiliating things." Jiang Shiyu was a bit surprised at this, as it was different from what she thought. She still didn't believe it. It couldn't just be these things. Did Su Nen really have no love for her in his heart? But Assistant Lee had clearly said that his absent-minded look in the corridor before didn't seem like someone who had no feelings for Jiang Shiyu at all. If it wasn't because he had once loved her deeply, if it wasn't because he cared in his heart, how could he have cried so heartbroken and so moving after learning the terrible news? A smile can be faked, words can be made up, but how can sadness and pain be faked? How many people could convincingly fake such deep-seated emotions? Even with top-notch acting skills, it wouldn't be this good, right? If it wasn't someone he cared about, how could he be so nervous? Jiang Shiyu stared intently at me, her yearning eyes making me feel pitiful. How desperately she wanted to know. Is the truth really that important? Actually, there's nothing particularly special about it. It's all in the past. There's really no point in talking about it. It won't change anything, it won't get us anything, and it won't even ease or resolve any of the current problems. We still have to look forward and move forward. So these so-called past truths are actually nothing at all. After I finished speaking, Jiangxiu looked into my eyes and finally hesitated for a moment, her gaze shifting. Sunan was right. Even if she knew, it wouldn't change anything about the current situation, and she wouldn't gain anything either. Jiangxiu's obsession with the truth might seem like a ridiculous and absurd idea to some people. But everyone has obsessions. An obsession, if too deep, can become a poison. Once the poison seeps into the flesh, there is no cure. To know the truth, this is Jiangxiu's obsession. Curiosity can drive people to do anything. It can also make them crazy, just like Jiangxiu right now. Even though what I said was logical, Jiangxiu still didn't intend to give up and stubbornly replied to me. It's important. I looked at her helplessly. Then, since the truth is so important to you, you also answer me one question. Jiangxiu was a little frantic. How could I still be in the mood to ask her questions at this point? She suppressed the frenzy in her heart, pretended to be weak, and squeezed out two words, you ask. Knowing the truth, you'll give up everything, right? Yes. Okay, then I'll tell you. I took a deep breath and slowly narrated everything from that year. That year, I was deceived by Su Jianghai and, after returning home, gave him one of my kidneys. But unexpectedly, when I woke up from the operating table, everything had changed. Su Jincheng's mother, Su Min, had schemed to have me sign a series of documents and consent forms while I was unconscious. The moment I opened my eyes, I was saddled with huge debts. Not only that, but she also sent people to threaten me. If I dared to go home, she would make my mother and me disappear forever. I was unwilling and wanted to call the police, but was knocked unconscious by Su Jincheng on the way and thrown into the sea. I almost drowned, but luckily, a passing fishing boat pulled me up and I was spared. But when I came back a month later, it was all too late. Jiangxiu's family had suffered a sudden disaster, and I was powerless to help. After Su Jincheng found out that I hadn't died, he took the initiative to come to me and propose a deal. As long as I left Haicheng, he could spare my mother and me, and even help Jiangxiu make a comeback. But the prerequisite was that I had to disappear forever. I wanted to refuse, but I also knew that I couldn't fight them. I could only agree bitterly. But I didn't expect Su Jincheng to ask me to break up with Jiangxiu with such a cruel and decisive tone. I thought we wouldn't have a chance to meet again. This way, even if you resented me, it wouldn't matter. I didn't finish my sentence. When I looked up, I found that Jiangxiu was already in tears. Why? Didn't you tell me earlier? I fell silent. Yes. Why? A dying person. What good would telling her all this truth do? It was like the warning I gave Su Jianghai back then. But even if he really knew, what could he do? Su Jincheng wasn't his and Su Min's son, but the child Su Min had from messing around with other men before she even married into the family. That woman was very scheming. She actually managed to put this cuckold hat squarely on Su Jianghai's head. And she planned a series of events that not only drove my mother and me away, but also almost wiped us out completely. If my mother hadn't gotten sick, I might have fought them. But now, I have no strength left. Jiangxiu held my hand, her eyes red. Anan. My heart trembled. That familiar address instantly brought my memories back to 3 years ago. Jiangxiu always loved to hold on to me, affectionately calling me Nan and acting spoiled in my arms. But times have changed, and we can never go back to the past. I suppressed the bitterness in my heart and changed the subject. What's wrong with you? Why are you running around instead of sleeping at this hour? Hearing me say that, Jiangxiu suddenly widened her eyes, as if she had thought of something, her eyes filled with resentment. It's Su Jincheng. That bastard. He actually tried to force himself on me. Jiangxiu recounted what happened that night. After going upstairs that night, they had each gone their separate ways. But late at night, just as Jiangxiu was about to rest, Su Jincheng suddenly knocked on her door, urgently saying that something seemed to have happened to me. Jiangxiu was momentarily nervous and opened the door without thinking much. But who knew that Su Jincheng would directly barge in and pin her down on the bed? I'm sorry, baby. I really can't hold back anymore. Anyway, we're getting engaged soon, so just give yourself to me. Jiangxiu kneed him hard in the crotch, and, taking advantage of his pain, she ran out of the room. But unexpectedly, Su Jincheng actually chased after her, and even several staff members of the resort were surrounding her. Luckily, she was smart enough and managed to dodge everyone, then drove off, intending to leave. But after driving not far down the mountain, her brakes failed, leading to the subsequent events. After saying all this, Jiangxiu gritted her teeth. So it was all that damn bastard's doing. I gently held her hand, signaling her to calm down. I've been to the resort. The surveillance footage there has already been deleted. We have no real evidence. Jiang Xiu looked unwilling, but she could only grit her teeth and swallow the anger. The room fell silent, and I suddenly felt a little awkward. Jiang Xiu looked at me and suddenly opened her mouth. So, what you said before, it was all fake, right? I naturally knew what she was referring to. Now that things were out in the open, there was no need for me to hide anything anymore. Yes. Jiang Xiu's eyes became moist again. Why? Why exactly? I shook my head. It's not important. Before I could finish, my vision began to spin, my stomach spasmed violently, and a taste of blood welled up in my throat. I have something to do. I tried to force myself to get up and leave, but Jiang Xiu used all her strength to tightly grip my hand. I was afraid of hurting her further, so I didn't dare to shake her off. In the deadlock, I couldn't hold it in any longer. Opened my mouth and vomited a large mouthful of blood, and then my whole body lost consciousness and I fell to the ground. When I woke up again, I found myself lying in a hospital bed, and Jiang Xiu was in the bed next to mine. She seemed to have recovered a lot, and was now looking at a report in her hand with a solemn expression. Hearing the movement, she turned her head, a trace of joy flashing in her eyes. You're awake. I wanted to get up, but found that I was too weak to even lift my arm. Assistant Lee, who was standing by the window, quickly helped me sit up and poured me a glass of water. After finishing the water, just as I was breathing a sigh of relief, I heard Jiang Xiu choked up. How long has it been? My heart skipped a beat, and I pretended to be stupid. How long has what been? Do you still want to lie to me now? Jiang Xiu threw the report onto me. It was clearly my test results. Why didn't you tell me? Were you planning to just die quietly by my side? Jiang Xiu's eyes were red, and her body trembled slightly. I was silent for a while, then sighed. Telling you, what would that change? It would just add to the trouble. Wouldn't it be better if I just left quietly on my own? No. Jiang Xiu's emotions became agitated. I won't let you die. Don't forget. Your life is mine now. I shook my head with a bitter smile. What? Weren't you hoping for me to die before you back then? Wouldn't that be better? She was stunned. After a long while, she murmured, So, you remember everything. I knew I had let something slip, but at this moment, it didn't matter anymore. Yes, I remember everything. I remember everything we had together. I remember our vows. I remember our promises. And then what? I calmly looked out the window. Jiang Xiu, am I supposed to carry these memories all the way to the grave? Even in my last moments, am I supposed to remind myself that I'm a promise-breaking scoundrel, a hypocrite, a jerk? Am I? Jiang Xiu cried, shaking her head while crying. No, I won't let you die. I have money. I can cure you. You bastard. You made me wait 3 years, suffer for 3 years. Why should I let you off so easily? Jiang Xiu did as she said. Over the next period, she began to force me to cooperate with treatment. As for my mother, she found a caregiver to help look after her. And even for my mother's surgery, she specifically sought out top experts. I misunderstood you for so long. I should compensate you. Those were her exact words. The danger of late-stage stomach cancer still exceeded my expectations. At the beginning of the treatment, my condition was quite good. Even when the doctor told me that my cancer cells had begun to spread, I didn't feel anything. Because those cancer cells only existed in the X-ray images. Apart from occasional stomach aches and dizziness, I didn't have any special feelings. But only a short month had passed, and my physical functions began to decline rapidly. My pain nerves became abnormally sensitive. I was almost constantly looking forward to the doctor giving me a shot of pain medication. Because only when the pain medication took effect did I feel like a person with dignity, a clear mind, and complete features. Instead of a waste, submerged in an ocean of pain, unable to breathe, and unable to die. I used to think that no matter how painful cancer was, how painful could it really be? Could it be more painful than when the wound from my kidney removal split open? But later I realized that when the pain reached its extreme, even thinking became impossible. One night a month later, the pain almost drove me to collapse. During that period of delirium, I said the most disheartening thing. I don't want to live anymore. Jiang Xiu, who was already able to get out of bed, seemed to cry while hugging me when she heard this. I don't remember it very clearly, but I remember the feeling of hot tears lashing against my chest. Jiang Xiu spent a fortune buying me a special drug from abroad, but it only slowed down my death. This tech-savvy female CEO, somehow, suddenly lost faith in modern medicine. Instead, she ran to those temples trying to pray for my well-being. There were even some things in the hospital room that I didn't understand, but immediately felt were profound and mysterious. When I was awake, I even teased her. How come a dignified female CEO is engaging in feudal superstition? But when the words reached my lips, seeing her devout appearance, I couldn't say them at all. In the fall, my hair fell out because of chemotherapy, and my skin became pale. Jiang Xiyu was almost inseparable from me. She told me that she had found evidence in the car's dashcam footage. It was Su Jincheng who secretly went downstairs that night and sabotaged the brake pads. Tried to kill me, but unexpectedly, Jiang Xiyu would refuse to comply, causing a series of plans to derail. The Su family is finished. Before Su Jincheng was sent to prison, I specifically encouraged Su Jianghai to have a paternity test done with him. It turned out that he wasn't his biological son. Su Jianghai was so angry that he beat Su Min half to death. He himself had a cerebral hemorrhage due to emotional agitation and is now paralyzed in bed. She paused and looked at me. You won't blame me, will you? Blame? I smiled and shook my head. I'm too grateful to her. Thank you for helping me take revenge. But I didn't feel any sense of satisfaction from revenge. I'm gonna die. Although Jiang Xiyu kept it concealed repeatedly, I still asked about my situation when she left. The doctor hesitated and wouldn't say. I didn't want to make things difficult for him, so I asked Jiang Xiyu directly, do I not have much longer to live? Her eyes were red, and it took her a while to speak. Not necessarily. Even in the late stage, there are people who can live for decades. I couldn't help but shake my head and smile. That she could come up with such a kind and gentle way of putting it was already quite remarkable. On my mother's side, despite my repeated attempts to hide it, the truth eventually came out. At first, I lied to her, saying that I had only undergone a minor surgery and would be fine after a while. But during one of the doctor's checkups, he let it slip. Your time may be limited. We will still do our best, but… Crash! Before he could finish speaking, he was interrupted by a loud noise. I followed the sound and saw my mother squatting on the ground, picking up the pieces of a broken soup bowl, muttering as she did so. Too hot, too hot. She seemed to have lost her soul, not even noticing that her hand had been cut by the broken pieces. The doctor quickly helped her up, but my mother refused to get up, talking to herself incessantly. I'm just getting old. I can't even do small things right. I'm useless. But as she spoke, she suddenly burst into tears. What am I going to do? I'm so useless, my son. It's your mom who is dragging you down. I don't know where the strength came from, but I suddenly turned over and got out of bed, pulling my mother up from the ground. My mother wailed, hugging me tightly. I looked down and saw the glaring white hairs on top of her head. So, my mother is already this old? It's not your fault, mother. It's my bad luck. Don't cry. From that day on, there was another person in my hospital room. Besides Jiang Xiyu, my mother would go to the market every morning to buy fresh ingredients to make soup for me. Good food can somewhat heal the heart and alleviate some of the pain brought on by radiation therapy. During this time, Jiang Shi came to visit. As soon as she entered, she slapped herself hard twice in front of me. I'm sorry, Sunan. I misunderstood you. I shook my head with a smile. It's okay. I'm used to it. That single phrase, I'm used to it, brought tears to Jiang Shiyu's eyes again, and she quickly turned her head away. Jiang Shi wasn't inherently bad. What she did back then was just out of concern for Jiang Xiyu. She sat by my bed, chattering about things from the past, and when she mentioned Su Jincheng, she even rolled up her sleeves, saying that she would teach him a lesson sooner or later. But just before leaving, this fierce girl suddenly spoke with a sob in her voice. You have to be okay, okay? Xiyu is still waiting for you. Of course I wanted to. Of course. Not long after she left, I received messages from those friends who hadn't turned their backs on me when I was down. One by one, each message encouraged me to live. I, who had always been calm in the face of death, felt my eyes turn red at that moment. I suddenly didn't want to die. Please, God, give me one more chance to have a drink with them. Please, God, give me one more chance to be with my mother until the end. Please, God, give me one more chance to marry her. Please, I really, really want to live. Unfortunately, heaven ultimately failed to hear my prayer. When the first winter snow arrived in Haicheng, I distinctly felt that my time was running out. My cancer cells had metastasized throughout my body, and even with the top specialists that Jiang Xiyu brought in, they were helpless to reverse it. What kind of quack doctors are you? I don't care. You must cure him for me. I raised my hand, speaking with difficulty. Xiyu, let it go. Jiang Xiyu closed her mouth, chased the doctors away, and sat by the bed, holding my hand, her eyes full of reluctance and reproach. You promised me you wouldn't leave before me, you lied. As she spoke, she choked up again. I struggled to raise my hand, wiping away the tears from her face. Don't cry, my girl. You won't be beautiful if you cry. A dying person's words are usually kind. I didn't have the courage to hurt her with cold words again. I wanted to be carefree, to tell her that birth, aging, sickness, and death are natural. But why was my heart so filled with reluctance? I held her hand, but couldn't muster any strength. In a daze, I murmured, I really wanted to put your wedding dress on for you. Jiang Xiyu cried, shaking her head while weeping. It will happen, it will. Wait for me. She dried her tears and left in a flurry. After she left, I called Assistant Lee. I don't think I can hold on much longer. There's 50,000 yuan on my bank card. Please give it to my mother after I die. Also, there's a will. Take that to her as well. Assistant Lee's eyes were red and he choked, seemingly not knowing what to say. Can you do that? He nodded. I got it. My mother made food, feeding me while rambling on about where we would go to live after my discharge. I smiled and nodded in agreement. About an hour later, Jiang Xiyu returned, out of breath. Pushing open the hospital room door, I slowly opened my eyes wide. She was wearing the wedding dress she had tried on with me that day, and holding a bouquet of flowers. Behind her were our friends from the past. Surrounded by everyone, she walked to me with the flowers, her voice trembling. Sunan, would you still marry me? Tears slid down the corner of my eyes. I said bitterly, why are you doing this? I'm about to die. How can I delay? Before I could finish, she grabbed my hand. We made a vow. Her eyes were bloodshot, but filled with determination. Jiang Xiyu will not marry anyone but Sunan in this life. I stared at her fixedly for a long time, then smiled. Okay. Suddenly, someone spoke about me, their words full of sarcasm. With friends and the hospital staff as witnesses, Jiang Xiyu and I completed our wedding ceremony. After hearing the vows spoken by Assistant Lee, who was acting as the officiant and exchanging rings, Jiang Xiyu lowered her head and placed a kiss on my dry lips. Tears also fell onto my face. I suddenly felt so tired. I just wanted to sleep soundly. Sleep until the end of time. Sleep until the long night turns to dawn. Sleep until I can no longer hear the humming of those monitoring devices. I vaguely heard Jiang Xiyu's crying. I wanted to raise my hand. I wanted to comfort her and tell her not to cry. But I couldn't. Jiang Xiyu's side story. The day Sunan left, it snowed even more heavily in Haicheng. No. Our mother cried uncontrollably. If you asked me what kind of person he was, I would tell you he's a liar, a scumbag. He himself said he would stay with me for life, and that he would have me give him a beautiful daughter. And what happened? He ran away first, not only without spending a lifetime with me, but without even a honeymoon. I don't understand. I can't figure it out. Why did he have to face such an end after experiencing so much suffering?